Season of the deep.
And 3, 2, 1.
We are live
How are you this fine day?
in our own little room. I am fine. Are you fine?
I am fine.
Good. But the question is, do you know?
I might know.
Good, because I'm sure Respawn knows.
He should.
I'm sure he does.
He doesn't know. Let's be honest here. He won't remember.
You know?
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Nitedemon, the pink-panted pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Rager, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life!
I don't know if he's joining us.
I'm going to assume not, but there's just never a way to know.
No. So if he doesn't join us, it's just Nitedemon and Peroty.
It is indeed.
We are here. And we've played Destiny all week long. So we can give you the hot takes and the cold takes. And I don't think there's any other takes you can have, but there's takes.
I mean, there's take in. There's lots of them.
Take away.
They're very unhappy. They keep getting nuked on rooftops.
Well, as they should, to be honest.
They really should. I mean, you also just shouldn't hang out on rooftops if you think good things are going to happen to you.
No.
Nothing good happens up there.
It's like I always say to my kids, get down from there because you're going to hurt yourself.
Mm-hmm. Or somebody will come to hurt you, depending.
Not normally in my cases, but yes, in Destiny's case,
Yeah, less people, terrorizing your rooftops. More Guardians hopping into cannons and jumping up to the rooftops to say, oh, look, some taken. Be a pity if we were to electrocute all of them all at once.
And let's face it, it's the Cabal's fault. If the Cabal hadn't put those cannons there, we would find it a lot more difficult to get up to those rooftops to actually kill them. And in some cases, we might go, you know what, I can't be bothered to go up there. I'll just wait for the time to run down. But, Cabal put main cannons, so we jump in the main cannons. That's how it goes.
Makes it easy.
It does.
Quick, easy, dead.
And if you're confused about what we're talking about, you obviously haven't been in the Solstice Bonfire Bash yet. Like we have, and we've played, and we've enjoyed, and as Peroty said, we've electrocuted things because we are now Warlocks. That's it. We've thrown in the Titan mantle. We've just, it's gone. We're now Warlocks. Well, for now anyway.
I mean, it's, I'm all about Warlocks. I said, I need to play a Warlock. I need to electrocute everything because I was having good fun with the Child of the Old Gods, and he's a very good child.
Yeah.
But it's just, this is the friend game. It's fun to play with buddies, and sometimes you need a number of ARC buddies. And sometimes the number of ARC buddies you need is all of them, to the point where you can't really see your screen because there's just ARC happening. There's ionic traces, there's ARC buddies, there's explosions, there's electricity. It's just all ARC all the time.
Yeah.
And it is just a beautiful thing that makes short work of, well, everything. Dungeons, Solstice events, Gambit, anywhere where there are people, Master Nightfalls, just laying waste to all the ARC. It's beautiful.
Oh, I do think that we have a respawn inbound. I've just seen it pop up on the host chat.
See the ship flying in?
Yeah, we've seen the ship flying in. So we may be bombarded by a respawn any second now. But
vacation from the hotel room.
Yeah. I've had a fun week. We started the week with Iron Banner at the beginning of the week, which was quite nice, rounding that out, getting all the things that you need in Iron Banner. So that was good fun. Then moving into Solstice for a couple of days and going off and doing other things. And then rounding out the week, starting playing some trials to get some of those challenges done. And, get some pinnacles, obviously. Because it's all about the pinnacles.
How has your trials endeavor gone this weekend?
I think, well...
That well, huh? Okay.
I was going to talk to you guys about Trials the other week, but then I thought I'd wait and kind of give it another go, and we could probably discuss it. But I don't know how much Trials you've kind of played or not.
Yeah, I haven't played in a couple of weeks. I do intend to play some this weekend, partially for the Trial by Fire, and partially just because I wouldn't mind seeing if I can unlock another messenger or two. Maybe just add them to the collection before the season ends, which is quickly approaching. But
it is, yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, the weekend before Iron Banner popped up, I decided I was going to play some Trials on the last day. Now, normally when we have Trials, I know they've kind of changed it now, but it used to be you had the two separate pools. You had the Flawless pool, so that was a cut-off on Sunday, wasn't it? So that anybody that had been Flawless was now in their own little pool, and they played other Flawless players. Then anybody that hadn't gone Flawless was in their own separate pool. And I always found that pool was a lot nicer to kind of play in. It was a very even balance of people trying to get to the lighthouse that obviously might not have been able to get there before, or have been, and they're just average skill players, and we were kind of fighting to get to the lighthouse. And I've always enjoyed that. This time round, it's now everybody's in the same pool, and then you get losses on your card, which then put you into the practice pool. And I think it's 3 losses, isn't it? So you have if you pick up the mercy card, that gives you 2 mercies. If you have that, then you get those 2 mercies, and then the next one kind of puts you into the practice pool, so to speak. Now, I was doing quite well by myself. I'd got, I think, about 4 or 5 wins. I think it must have been on the Tuesday, so it was just before reset. It was on the Tuesday, playing, having good fun, just doing tiny things. And then Donny and I think Dasastro came to join me. A couple of people came to join me, and we, they said, "Can we join?" Yeah, more the merrier, fun. We lost every single game. It was unbelievably terrible in a way that, average skill players were not able to kind of even fight out of the practice pool. We all had losses on our cards. We'd gone, 3 or 4 losses in a row without resetting our cards. We were still in the practice pool. We were coming up against adept immortals. We were coming up against flawless players that, obviously had been flawless in other weeks, but not this week. And they were just kind of in there farming us. So I'm not sure how well that kind of matchmaking is going, because I know if you go flawless in the week that you're currently in and you try and get yourself into that practice pool, you get immediately pulled out when you start getting wins. So maybe the strat is to kind of, on a week where you don't necessarily need to go for the exotic, or you've got the exotics and you just want to farm people in that practice pool. Yeah,
there's not really a good strategy going to Trials. You sort of just have to grab a friend or two and say, we're going to go in, we're probably going to get our teeth kicked in, but we're not going to, we're going to go in not expecting to excel. We're just going to go in and make Saint 14 yell at us. That's really the only objective, and to kind of have a good time. And because some of those matches, you walk into them and you're dead before you've taken your second breath, or press down your trigger. And then some matches are actually competitive. You actually feel like, okay, we have a chance. Like, you may still lose, but you felt like you could have won that match had you made better decisions, or had just that bounce gone the right way, or you put that grenade in just the right spot that you missed a little bit. It just really, like, that's when I enjoy Trials more. When honestly, like, if I'm playing with people I know, or if I am solo queuing it, let me throw a podcast on in the background. Let me throw some YouTube videos on in the background and just sort of queue those up and like half listen to those and half listen to Trials, going, it's not going to really matter if I hear the guy coming to kill me. He's going to kill me anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to sit here and have a good time. And then, you get your hate messages from people going, why are you playing Trials? And you want to just say back, to help you keep the community up, numbers up a little bit, so you have a chance to actually do well, Mr. Good Trials player, instead of just playing the Grenadier Jakes and the Frostbolts of the world and go, it's only the sweatiest people here. Why is it only the sweatiest people? Well, because you've scared everyone else away.
Yeah. See, I found that last time round, I found that you could play, I could play with my friends, and we could play and actually do average, player things and progress to maybe 4, 5, 6, even close to getting 7 wins, and then kind of tumbling a bit. This way round, I found that the friend game isn't the way to do it. It's to do it solo now because it will queue you with other solo players. So the friend game in Trials now is non-existent for average players. And I think that's the issue, is that Bungie had the issue of the good players saying that they couldn't play with their friends once they kind of got flawless because they couldn't take them into the flawless pool because or they could, but it was a lot harder for them, and they got upset about that. So then Bungie kind of went, oh, okay, you can now play with your friends and you can destroy as you want to kind of go through with your friends. But that's okay for the very good players because they can do that and they can take their friends multiple times to the lighthouse, which is kind of the way that it was in Destiny 1. Whereas now I found that in this season, when they changed the matchmaking parameters, is that if you have a team of friends that are just average players, it's a lot harder to kind of get out of that losing streak. And I'm not sure if Trials this season is good for the average player. But then I know I can hear Respawn in the back of my head coming and going, oh, Trials is for, the sweaties, get good scrub and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like, but Bungie gave us away through completing bounties, through just sticking it out, through just playing matches, and over the course of a weekend, you maybe collect those 25 round wins, 30 round wins. I can't remember what the Saint 14 bounty is.
It's 20. 20 round wins.
We will go hand you a weapon for just
games won.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, so you could take your Sunday afternoon, take your Saturday morning, and say, I'm just gonna go play for a couple of hours, with the goal of getting that thing unlocked, or just completing bounties to go to Saint 14 and say, I can make the track go up, I can turn these in, I can focus on the weapon I want, as long as I'm not getting the adept weapons out of it, but I can get a couple of immortal rolls or a messenger roll or whatever that thing is you don't have yet, or just say, hey, this is on the track that I want to unlock. So then next season, when I've got more time, or when I get my team together, whatever the case may be, you've got the weapon unlocked. It's in the pool. You've got your messenger available to you, your immortal available to you. Now you can say, I can go in next season, play a little bit here, play a little bit there, slowly amass some engrams, and then I can go and focus them going. At least I'm getting the loot I want from this. It's still maybe not the role I want, but at least I'm getting something I want from this activity.
Yeah.
As opposed to just going to the slot machine saying, please give me something good. Oh, it was an armor piece that it was another butt cape or a warlock bond or, a hunter cloak, which is fine, but I don't need that. That's not helping me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Trials has come on leaps and bounds from when it was first introduced, and you couldn't kind of get anything unless you were getting the wins and the round wins to get that track moving to actually get stuff. So they've come a long way in actually getting the average player into play, but I'm not sure if the parameters for the skill level still is good enough to get keep the average player in there unless they're going in there solo. Because if you're going in there solo and you're an average player, you have a chance to get another average player and then maybe a better player, and you get a game that can kind of go 4-5 or 5-4. And it's really good. That it's a really good feeling. But when you go in there with your other two buddies that are just average players, and you can't even win a round for about 5 or 6 games, it feels like when Trials was first introduced, of you're just going to get stomped over and over and over and over again, and there's going to be no progression. I mean, there was a little bit of progression on Saint 14's track, but
not enough to make the investment worth it.
I mean, we had fun. I'm not saying that we didn't have fun. We had fun. We were having a laugh, but after
a laugh
time,
and something good.
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was a little bit demoralising to kind of just walk into the match and just get sniped straight away. It's like, oh god, this again.
Yeah.
You look at the loadouts and you go, okay, they've got Cloud Strike. Let's not stand next to each other. But then you do make the mistake of trying to raise your friend, and you're like, cool, and everything goes bang again. Rookie mistake, my fault. But yeah, I'm going to wait to see what they say about it. But so far this week, I think I've got 2 wins in a row, and that's going solo into the queue list and seeing how far I can get just to get some wins on there. I mean, like I was saying this week in Destiny videos, you don't have to get those 7 wins in a row for Saint 14. You can do it over a period of like the 3 or 4 days that Trials is up. to get those 7 wins, and you can get a win, reset your card, or just be on the loss streak and get a win every now and then, and it'll still count towards those 7 wins. As long as you do it before the reset, you get those. And then the 20 round wins is it kind of, there's a times 2, 3, 4 multiplier on it once you start getting more wins on your card. So if you get like 1 match won, those 5 rounds count towards just 5 points. But the second game, I think they then count as like 2 points. So then it jumps up a bit more. So by the time you get to 3 or 4 wins, depending on if it's in a row or on, as long as they're like the yellow squares on your card, that will progress faster. So you don't actually have to get the 20 round wins. So sometimes that kind of helps to get the pinnacles, because that's what I'm kind of chasing at the moment with my Warlock, is that I'm trying to get her up to 18-10. And the only thing I need is the class item. Now, there was a time in Destiny where class items were the only thing that kind of dropped from certain encounters, and I kind of miss that now. And they kind of took that out of the raid. Do you remember this? Like, they would have a certain encounter in a raid where you knew that you could kind of get a class item, but then that's all people got from that encounter, and they whined and they moaned and they went, okay, well, we'll take class items out of the equation and it'll just kind of be randomized. And I always make Blue Screen laugh when I play with him. I say, don't forget to refresh your Destiny item manager, because, you know, Bungie know that if that's the only item that you need. And I do it religiously out of kind of, I before I go and pick up an engram or before I complete a thing, I refresh the Destiny item manager just so that the algorithm knows that that's the only thing that I'm missing. But do you think it'll give me... This week I have had helmets, I have had gauntlets, I've had chest pieces, and I've had boots. I've had all kinds of weapons, pinnacle-wise. I cannot get the class item on my Warlock, and it's bugging me. And it's been like that for about the last 3 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, actually, since the last Iron Banner, because that's the only thing I've needed. I mean, granted, I haven't played all the pinnacle stuff for the last couple of weeks to try and maximize my thing. But you'd think at one point the game would go, hang on a minute, this guy just needs a class item. But no.
You know where that class item is sitting, don't you?
Yeah. At the end of time.
Gambit.
Yeah, but I can't get it. I can't get it in Gambit anymore. I can only get an exotic in Gambit. So there's no incentive.
No, there isn't.
No extra incentive to go into Gambit apart from the same incentive that there is to play your 3 Crucible matches, to play your 3 Vanguard strikes. Is the same with Gambit. Maybe if they'd have left Gambit as a pinnacle, you might have enticed more people to go, hang on a minute, that one's the pinnacle over there.
Yeah, have that be a place to you have to go into to get that last piece you're looking for. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, it's that's why I always joke and say, never tell Destiny what you need, because it's never going to give it to you. Never say, I just need this last weapon, or I just need this last armor piece for this raid. Don't tell the game that.
No,
it will hold that against you.
So did you say you've been playing some Gambit this week with your Arc Warlock?
I played a little bit of Gambit with my Arc Warlock. I mostly did the random master Nightfall with Blue, the 2 of us, and the Arc Warlock just makes good times. Frosty actually joined us right at the end. We were in the boss room getting our faces handed to us a couple of times, and she's like, "Can I join you?" It's like, "You certainly can." She's like, "I'm only light level." It's like, it won't matter. You're just a respawn point at this time. You're just here to have a good time with us. So finish that one out. Ran Ghost of the Deep with you and finished that, which was nice to get that done.
So now you're kind of familiar with that. How did you feel about Ghost of the Deep? It was pretty simple, wasn't it? It wasn't a complex dungeon.
Yeah, Ghost of the Deep, the hardest part of that is agreeing on what you're calling the hive symbols. Because that's one thing I never learned doing any of the, Shattered Throne or any of those, like what all these hive symbols were and like what people were calling them. So, because there's a number of instances where I have to go look for this symbol. Like, I have to, hit a reveal spot, read a wall, saying, here are the 3 symbols we need, go underneath, swim around to the water, run away from Steve who's trying to murder you, and activate those 3 symbols. Going, now which ones am I looking for? Which one is this thing? Oh, it's kitty cat. Okay, which one's kitty cat? Oh, this one's turret. This one's, jaunty table. Okay, which one is that one again? Is it the one with the 3 dots on the top or the lines on the top? So, honestly, that was kind of the trickiest part, is going, what symbol am I looking for?
Yeah.
But the rest of it was just, the first part is, run around, shoot the lads, find the symbol, bring the ball back, dunk the ball, in the place where the big symbol was. Like, I appreciated that we could do it and get a completion without doing it perfectly. Like there wasn't, there wasn't a timer to it. There wasn't a you've got 3 tries and we're going to wipe you mechanic. It's like, I think the boss took us, I don't know what, 8, 5 or 6 or 7 damage phases because some of them were better than others. And it's like, we got it all done, but it didn't have to be perfect. And I like that piece of the dungeon. It's a challenging. Yeah, like it's challenging and it's fun, but it doesn't punish you for not being pitch perfect.
No. And it is a dungeon that I could see that is quite soloable if you kind of work out your loadouts for each encounter. Now, I know I've put a couple of guides in our show notes about going through and doing solo encounters in there, but it is a doable thing because there aren't things where you have to kind of make sure that you're doing something in one place and something in another place, or standing in one. The hardest one that I've got in my mind at the moment is the Pit of Heresy, where you have to stand on the plate with the Shrieker above it to kind of generate it. You also then have to kill the knights and then run over and grab the knights with the balls and dunk the ball behind. But if you're too slow, the Shrieker will kind of explode and blah, blah, blah. And then that is a sticking point in my mind. And then Shattered Throne, my personal goal was to try and get past that blooming ogre. I knew that I could solo it and I could get past the ogre once I could get past the ogre. And I found, there were ways of doing that. And it was kind of just adjusting my build as I went through rather than kind of just sticking with one build. And I think that would work with this new dungeon as well. I think the only thing that a solo player might find issue is trying to get the deep sight before the witch decides she's going to blast you, before you can dunk your ball at the various different locations. I think that was quite hard because she knew that you wanted to go to that deep sight. So she would be kind of just in that area and blasting you. So it was nice to actually have a couple of other people there to kind of go, I've dunked my ball, can you go and get the deep sight so I can run the other way away from the witch? So yeah, that was quite good fun. And now the other thing that I did this week was I did a Nezarec run. So the Root of Nightmares, I checked that box to say that I completed that raid, even though I have not been through the full raid. Donnie came in the chat one day and said, I've got a Nezarec checkpoint. I was like, okay, cool. We'll see if we can get a team together. We went on LFG on the Xbox and found a group that said, we've only done it a couple of times, just looking for people to help, be whatever. And they're like, okay, they've already got a checkpoint. We'll go and join them. Such good fun. And it is easy as I can't believe how easy it was. I mean, he did glitch out, which also did help us kind of get it done. But the mechanics were pretty much. You remember the opening of that raid? I don't, listeners might not kind of know, but there's kind of buffs and debuffs that you kind of collect through as you go through the raid. Now, I think in the opening section, it was just the buffs that we needed. So we had one player standing near an orb and shooting an orb to get a buff, and then moving around to various different platforms to get this buff as we moved up the kind of in the main area. Now, that happens in this final boss room, but there's kind of a dark side and a light side. And you have the two runners. One follows the light path, one follows the dark path. One guy has to get the aggro of Nezarec, which was me, which was good fun because I hadn't used a sniper for a very long time in PvE. And then the rest, I think, were running around like headless chickens, just destroying enemies and just following the kind of call outs of come here, stand here, come here, stand there. And it was that simple. I aggroed the boss. I shot his shoulders, called out the colour that his kind of shoulders changed colour to. It was either white or gold. And then when he kind of raises a hand in the air, a bit like Atheon does, shoot him in the chest. And then once I've done that, I've aggroed him. He then runs around the map after me for a couple of seconds. And then it was just literally rinse and repeat. The guys were going around shooting their orbs and getting their buffs and debuffs. We stood on a platform on one side where I'd called out the colour. He kind of did a white mechanic. And if we were all in this safe area, that kind of negated that. And then after that, it was kind of rinse and repeat, do that again. And then we got to a damage phase where he kind of screamed, and then we just shot him a lot. And it was like, this is easy. There's no hardness to it for an end boss in a raid. That was my kind of take on it. It was just like a lot of people could be doing this.
Yeah, and that's always been like Respawn tells me every time. It's like, we can get you into a raid. You can do this raid. I go, Yes, no, I know I can. Like the issue is not the skill gap or understanding what to do. It's just finding the time and a group and putting it all together.
Yeah.
And then saying I can set together this, call it 2 hours to get this thing done. That's always been my blocker is just the amount of time where, yeah, it's like I want to say it should take this long, but if it takes longer, I want to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's that's what been my stumbling block of I don't always have that extra time to get it done, or the time I have is not the time other people have. And
no, yeah. And I think that's the thing with a lot of people, isn't it? And then when you look on LFG and they go, must know this, must know that, and it's like, it's honestly easy as compared to like Kingsfall, which I did the previous week. Blue dragged me into a Kingsfall Oryx checkpoint, and that has changed a bit compared to Destiny 1. Destiny 1, I remember, you all had to kind of jump on your platforms to create the kind of mystic platforms as you ran around the top of whoever was taken had to run around this kind of relay race to grab the orb to drop down and do the night. Now it's kind of just two people have to step on plates. These two people step on, they call out which plates, it's whichever one he kind of slams on normally. And
that's
then
not nearly as terrifying as being chosen, then have to run around these things while you're, half invisible.
Yeah, I mean, again, he kind of still does that at random, but it's kind of, they call out the two platforms. They say, all right, it's this one, and whoever jumps up on that platform then sees where the other platform should be. They call out the other platform, the other person jumps on, and it's literally like 3 stepping stones. You jump up and touch the orb, and then you're untaken again, and then you do that a couple more times, and then you get the debuff for the night that you slam, and then you can body shot Oryx. And it's either I completely forgot about the bombs. It was either bombs or the Thunderdome. I completely forgot about bombs, but yeah, just compared to the original Destiny 1 versions of that, I found that this one was a lot easier. I'm not sure if they've just been making the raids easier for people to get into and do. In terms of complexity, is it complexity?
Complexity,
that's the word. Vow the Disciple and Garden of Salvation, I found a little bit more technical with what you kind of need to be doing, because there's a lot of kind of runes that you have to remember and shoot. And I don't know whether it's just because I was just being taken through it by Kingsley Mack and the guys when we did that run, and they kind of knew what they were doing. It's like, stand here, shoot that, if that turns into that and that. I'm like, oh, okay. But running through the throne world, there's those rooms that are just kind of full of symbols, and you're like, oh my god, how am I going to remember all of these? And I think those were a bit more complicated. So, but yeah, the Nezareth was good fun. I mean, I didn't think I kind of got a brief explanation from Noble before we went into it about how it would go down, and yeah, it's good fun.
Nice. Yeah, it's good times. Yeah, that's. I definitely think fondly back on my catching up with people as they were getting off night shift and I was getting up for work and going and knocking out a Vault of Glass or a Crota's End or something run in the mornings before work. I definitely had more time to raid then and worked out better. But yeah, well, that's why we have Respawn here to scream at you about how good raiding is and what exotics he's still missing. Yeah.
I didn't get the exotic. I didn't even think about it until kind of the end, and a couple of guys got it in the group. So yeah, I did get the Rufus's Fury, the auto rifle. So that was quite cool. I got that, and then I could buy
the one thing I want.
I then could buy the red border from the chest at the end. So I've got 2 crafty things that I've got. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. I did catch up with Blue Screening Company right before this morning when we were recording. He was on with K9er and Dave, and they were just collecting spoils. He's like, "Hey, we're collecting spoils. Come collect spoils with us." so I now have 1 red bordered Apex Predator rocket launcher, and that's the only thing I've ever gotten out of Last Wish, or the only thing I've ever done in Last Wish was go hit that one chest and collect spoils. And then we collected another chest out of, I think it was again the War on the Throne world, just another chest where I just got random armor pieces that I haven't even had a chance to look at them. Don't know if it's anything to write home about, but it was nice to get a weapon out of this at least. So I now have one red border weapon for Last Wish, and I can slowly work on that collection now.
I can't remember when that actually comes back around. Let me have a quick check. So if we've got, because I know the showcase is on August 22nd, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're currently in week 9. So the 25th will be week 10. The 1st of August will be week 11. Week 12 will be the 8th of August. So week 13 will be the 15th. So I think this is the first time for a while that it hasn't stuck to doing 12 weeks.
Yeah, and 13 weeks it is. I don't know. I show up, I play the game every week. Something new happens. Eventually, it's something else new. I'm just a little mouse on the treadmill, just running ahead merrily, seeing what happens next.
Well, if that is the case, that we've only got a month left of the season, and the season kind of resets, and we get season 22. Yeah, we get season 22 on the 22nd of August with the showcase. That means that the Last Wish will be farmable again the week of the 15th of August. So if you want to kind of get in there and kill Callie a couple of times or 1,000 times and get all your red bordered weapons, that'd be the week to kind of do it.
There you go.
Yeah. And speaking of raids and coming up to next season, I don't think Bungie are going to say much about next season at all for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Because I think they're going to wait till the showcase on the 22nd when the season drops to tell us what raid is back, what the season's going to be called, what we're going to be doing, and then, go into the final shape and beyond that. What do you think?
Oh, like 100%. They're going to wait until they can load us all into the hype train, have the hype train leave the station, and that's when we're getting their information. So everyone can make their reaction videos and their watch-along videos, and we can all say, "Oh, Bungie did it again. They saved the game. Everything's great." Yeah, they're going to tell us, nothing until then.
Nothing until it drops. I know from looking at the TWAB this week, or a couple of tweets that they've put out, that there's going to be another kind of Wednesday TWAB going over like the sandbox updates and things like that. But I think it's going to be quiet until we get to the 22nd. We're going to have very small TWABs telling us, a few morsels. But I think they are going to save that raid. What do you think the raid that's coming back is going to be?
Do I think it's Wrath of the Machine?
Well, people are saying that I thought it was going to be Wrath of the Machine, because when they said that some of the raids that they were going to reintroduce coming back, if like their exotic is already in the game, which it is for Wrath of the Machine because we've got the Outbreak perfected, is that they would then have to kind of they'd have to kind of give us a new exotic. And I, along with the rest of the community, were going, it's going to be Wrath of the Machine coming back, because otherwise why would they be telling us this if, the other exotics aren't kind of in the game kind of thing? Well, apart from Leviathan, we've got the Legend of Acreus. But
I don't see it being Leviathan. I don't see that one being as interesting or exciting as we were hanging out on the Leviathan, the physical place, that ship for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then running around to the room, it's like, to do the raid after that would just seem sort of anticlimactic. It's like, yeah, I've been here, I've run around here. This is not anything exciting. I mean, with the Splicers and the Siva and Wrath of the Machine, just visually, that was a very fun raid, and there was a lot going on. And just, again, the big siege engine and the big giant set pieces, I think that would be good fun. And I think that would be more interesting. Like Crota.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I don't think there's... I think, as I'm sure we've said and other people have said, if they bring that back, it's going to be a dungeon. Like, that's just not... It's such a baby raid. Like, it is literally baby's first raid. Like, that where people were soloing fairly easily.
Yeah.
I think it's... I feel like... I would like it to be Wrath.
I would as well, yeah.
I would like it to be. I'm not going to play it anyway, probably, but... I know many people would like it to be Wrath of the Machine.
I think the thing is with Wrath of the Machine, Bungie have said that they're done with Siva. So people are now like, does that mean that we're not going to get Wrath of the Machine back? Or if we do get Wrath of the Machine back, do we then get it with the Scorn in that raid? They kind of replace them. But then the end boss was kind of Seaver-fied, and it was
Right.
mainly a Seaver raid. So I don't know what they do with that raid if it is coming back. I really, really would like it to come back. But then I was listening to the Last Word podcast, and I completely forgot that we had Scourge of the Past. I mean, I know Respawn always love that one with the Sparrow race on it, but I don't hear a lot of people say that they want that one to come back. And I mean, the Sparrow that was only available in that raid is in the Monument to Lost Light in the tower. The exotic, which was the grenade launcher, the
Anarchy,
that is also in there as well. So,
right.
I mean, it kind of covers their base when they say, oh, you know, if the exotics are already acquirable in the game or such and such, and we bring back another raid. So you've got that. You've got Crown of Sorrow, which I absolutely loved. That was a really good mechanic raid. I know a lot of people didn't like that, and with that one we had Terror, which I got from that raid. That was fantastic. And then we have, like you said, the Leviathan, but then we also have the 2 raid layers that came with Leviathan, or after that. So do they make a mega raid and go Leviathan, what was it, Spire Stars and Eater of Worlds, and kind of amalgamate them and kind of just make this huge raid out of it, and have, where we went back on the Leviathan only like a couple of months back in that season of the Haunted, do we have an egregore kind of filled Leviathan? Is it going to kind of take on that story effect of that it's been affected, and so that means that the bosses and the mechanics are different in them?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it feels with the raid layers. I mean, those were basically dungeons, so I don't see them bringing those back. I mean, and those, you know, it's not like those were like deeply beloved and people. You know, there's no fan petition. There's no cry for those to come back. People aren't saying, "Oh, please bring us back. We really, really miss and really, you know, want to engage with these again." So I mean, you know, and again, with Scourge of the Past, it's like if it was in Destiny 2, I don't really see them, you know, bringing those back first. Yeah, maybe it's less work, but that's sort of the, you know, the draw is not there. Going, well, I've played this in Destiny 2 already. Like, you know, if you're gonna bring me a reprise the raid and bring it to me, not give me a raid that you just took away that was already here before.
Yeah. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, if you're an original D2 player and you played those raids, you feel a little bit cheated that they're going to go, oh, by the way, we're bringing these back in another season. I mean, admittedly, you probably won't have to pay for them if you're kind of a free-to-play player. Then there's that whole controversy over the free-to-play kind of area of the game. But whichever raid they do bring, I see that they've got to do a lot of work to kind of bring it back into the game. So Leviathan, they've either going to kind of have to do a new exotic at the end, and then, you know, the raid weapons, are they all going to be craftable? Like Last Wish is now kind of craftable, and they're slowly kind of getting round to those being red borders that you can then craft. Same with Crown of Sorrow. You've got to bring back the weapons and the exotic. You've got to put in a new exotic. Do you change the aesthetic of the raid with the egregore kind of faction in there, or do you just ignore what happened with Season of the Haunted and you just put it in the Legends tab and just say Vault of Glass, Kingsfall? But then they changed those up slightly with the mechanics of it, which is what I don't get. It's like, if it's a Legends raid or if it's a Legends dungeon or something, why are they kind of changed? Whichever kind of raid they do bring back, they are going to have to change. I mean, Scourge of the Past, they'd have to change as well. Even with the Wrath of the Machine, a Crota. Crota's a perfect example, like you were saying. It should be like a dungeon because it is so short. People can solo it. Possibly that's the route that they're going down, because I know we've kind of spitballed about this, of like maybe extending it and having like different parts to it so that it could be an extended raid. I think, again, they're going to have to change it and put work into it.
Yeah, it's one of those with Crota specifically. Like it sits so close to being a dungeon. Like it just doesn't. It's like it's so. It lives in that same space. I just don't see that that's the one they would put the time and effort to bring back.
Hello, Respawn.
Speaking of bringing back,
what up?
You're meant to be on holiday.
I am meant to be on holiday, but somebody said I wouldn't show up today, so I just had to prove a point.
Okay.
Yep.
Give us your hot take. Which raid is coming back?
Which raid is coming back? The one where the giant sunball is chasing you.
Scourge of the Past.
Yes.
Is that the one that you want to come back?
Yes.
Why do you want it to come back? If you've already got the Sparrow and you've got the exotic.
Raid, dude. I don't care about the Sparrow and the exotic, dude. The raid itself was fun. You know? Okay. I mean, the whole raid, I mean, the first part was kind of, whatever, right? You got the guy who reads the map, and you got everyone running around like chickens with their heads cut off, which is kind of funny, right? Mm-hmm. And then after that, you have the underground maze, which isn't a maze as long as you know where you're going. And then almost immediately after that, you have the unofficial Sparrow Racing League, where if you lose, you die. And after that, you get to fight a giant robot. Who doesn't like fighting giant robots? You know what I'm saying?
What about a giant robot with Siva legs and it's got a fallen attached to the top?
I really love that one too. I would really like that one to come back as well. But then you're faced with the same problem as Scourge of the Past, right? We already have the exotic. We have the exotic in the game right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
you know
we've already said that. Just we're just getting your
hot
take.
If you're gonna bring it back, what are you gonna do? You know, what would you do? Would you have and it's already got a catalyst too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you can't even give it a catalyst, right? You'd have to
have Siva ornaments for everything. That's what I want.
Not for a raid. Not for a raid reward, dude. Nah, bro. You need to have something tangible, something good. If it's not going to be a weapon, then it has to be like another kind of like Scourge of the Past Sparrow, a really unique Sparrow. Because we've only got 2 in the whole game that are like that. There's the one from Scourge of the Past, and there was one from the Halloween special event.
Yeah,
that's got the same perk where enemies are less likely to shoot you. But the Scourge of the Past is faster than every other bike currently, right? Mm-hmm. So, you'd have to come up with something tangible like that people are going to want to get their hands on. And even then, a Sparrow is not really high on a lot of people's lists, No. I would say if you bring that back, maybe have, I don't know, an exotic class item as a reward, maybe?
Maybe.
Is that where you bring back the exotic class items where, like, you punched an ogre and it became your friend and start bringing those back?
No, that's the artifacts. Yeah. Those were the artifacts.
Those were the artifacts. But no, I mean, even if you did that, right? So you could have them bring back an exotic, which is automatically going to be the one with the extra slot for the 3 points in any stat. What's it called?
Artifice.
Artifice, yeah. It's immediately got an artifice slot, right?
Oh, yeah. Then that's good, then.
Yeah.
We'll have that.
And, yeah.
That'll do.
So,
yeah.
And whichever node you select on it, it gives you more XP towards maybe Crucible, Gambit, or Strikes. Or
something like that.
In Raids and Dungeons.
That'd be a neat little reward. I don't know if it's quite raid level, but it'd be the whole thing in itself was an experience, man. Or maybe, they can bring back the original swords, like the Dark Drinker, the Raised Lighter, and the Arc one, whatever the hell that was called. You know what I'm saying? The Dark Drinker is for those of you that don't know, the Dark Drinker is the guillotine's grandfather, right? But it's just way better. And like for the Dark Drinker, let's say, because I mean it's basically just a better guillotine, right? For its exotic perk this time around, instead of it just spinning like a top, maybe if you're on a void subclass, as you spin, you also get like maybe a void bubble to protect you while you're spinning. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Can you guess for the 500 points or 400 points, because that's the light level it is in Destiny 1, what the other sword is called? Give you a clue that our swords do it in Destiny 2. It's a perk.
Arc Slinger?
Close.
It's something like that. I can't remember what it was. I know it had Arc in the name.
Boltcaster?
Boltcaster, that's right, yeah. Boltcaster, Raised Lighter. I never got the Boltcaster. I had the Raised Lighter and the Dark Drinker. The Boltcaster, I never got it. I never really liked it. Huh?
You had to have all 3. Or, you What about bringing back the other two variants of the Thunderlord? So we had the Nova Mortis, which was the Void version, and that had that perk of negative rounds, which the weapon fires faster and more accurately the longer the trigger is held down, which is what kind of Thunderlord's got now. But it was kind of...
Well, no, Thunderlord doesn't do it like that. Thunderlord is every time you get a crit, it fires faster, and bolts of lightning come down.
Yes,
no,
but it's got a hidden perk. The longer that you hold down the trigger, it fires more accurately, and the fires faster. And trust me, it's hidden perk. I've seen a video of it this week.
I'm not doubting you.
You had the Nova Mortis, which was the Void version of Thunderlord, and then you had the Abaddon, which was the Solar version.
Right.
So yeah. Or what about bringing back the Dragon's Breath?
That would be amazing, like I said, but everyone's sweating the Dragon's Breath, but the Dragon's Breath really doesn't do all that much without the Taikanaut,
The
Taikanaut has to come back.
No, it doesn't. If you were good with the Dragon's Breath, you were just good with the Dragon's Breath. Trust me.
Bro.
I'm telling you, bro.
But the Taikanaut gave it tracking and did other stuff to it too. I forgot. I think it also increased heavy drop rates or whatever, right? And keep in mind, guys, I know I'm vetting for a Titan exotic to come back, but it was a really good one for this rocket launcher.
All rocket launchers gain tracking. Radar remains visible while zooming in with heavy weapons, and heavy ammo drops are more often.
Air traffic 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
I was 2 out of 3, right? So yeah, dude, the Taikanaut. Oh man, back in the day, I wasn't so anti-Titan. I didn't play Titan as much, but it was just because I liked Hunter more, not because I disliked Titan. But whenever I had to do raids or activities where my Titan was the only one left, oh, you better believe I was rocking Taikanaut Dragon's Breath 100%. It's just so fun. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, the Dragon's Breath's okay. I mean, having napalm all over the place is fun. But what made it really good, what made it really potent, was the ammo drop rate of that Taikanaut, right? You could fire off all your rounds for the freaking Dragon's Breath, have napalm covering the map, go around, pick up more heavy ammo, do it again. I mean, it was just... It's the best thing to happen to D1, dude. It's just that combo. I'm sorry. That's my opinion, but bam. Or, then you had your class specific weapons, like you had the Hunter with the sniper rifle.
No, we don't want those back.
When you sighted in, you went invis. That was cool. You had the Titan with the shotgun that while you were in your bubble, you did not consume ammo. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then the Warlock had a submachine gun that did a thing. I don't remember.
We'll stick the No Land Beyond on there and we'll be all set.
Yeah.
Dude, people were joking about that. People actually want that to come back. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, no, dude, it might not have any scopes on it, but it hit hard. I was like, you're nutty.
People love their things.
So the Titan shotgun was the Mobius. We had the... What was it? The sniper rifle, did you say, was the other one?
Yeah,
for the Hunter.
Yeah, the Hunter one, yeah.
And like the cool thing is, you could not equip them on the other classes. Just like in D1, how we have class specific glaives, right? You can't equip each other's glaives or whatever. It was the same thing back then. But like these weapons were like really specific to their characters, Hunters went invis, Titans just had infinite ammo in a bubble, and Warlocks, I don't know, theirs did a thing. I don't remember what theirs did, but they did a thing.
Just bring me back my Ruin Wings and we'll be all set.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
Heavy ammo. It generates heavy ammo for you.
Well, I mean, that's just the Taikanaut. Well, it sounds like a cheaper version of the Taikanaut.
Yeah. Heavy ammo drops more often and contains more ammo in each drop.
Oh.
That was the other required... I've got my D1 vault pulled up in dim because I would not have remembered half of what was there otherwise.
Is that a chest piece or arms or what?
Yeah, Titan gauntlets.
Gauntlets
that were practically required. You're running a thing, you're going to need ammo. Flop those on and go to town.
Just noticed on my Destiny 1 vault, I've got 3 boxes of tiny raisins, and it says why. And then I have,
of course you do.
It gets better. I've got 2 Ascendant raisins. It's like, why?
And one toothbrush.
Just looking through my vault, there is so much here. You know, Bungie. Here, Bungie, I will make you. I will clean out my D1 vault if you'll give me that room in D2, because there's a lot of stuff sitting in here I do not need. It doesn't need to be here. I have so many heavy ammo synths sitting in this vault. I'm all set. I'm all set to run Crota. We're good.
Crota.
I've got 2 pieces of celery sweets.
No, there's no rumor. We were just discussing.
No, we were just saying, they're bringing something back. So we were saying, what would you like to come back? What do you think they'll bring back? So that's why we need your hot take.
Yeah, because whichever one they do bring back, it's going to need a major rework on either the raid itself and the mechanics, if it's an older raid, weapon sets, exotics. It's a lot of work to bring something back. And if it's an old D1 raid, they've got to get into the D2 engine kind of for us to play, not kind of copy and paste.
True, and you got to make sure that well, this is my opinion, but they also have to make sure that it comes back in a way that it's not Galahorn or the Last Whisper, not Last Whisper,
Black Hammer.
Yeah, right.
Whisper of the Worm.
Because you bring it back in its original glory, knowing that it was broken in D1 in that same exact way, and then you nerf it in the exact same way that you didn't. I will never not be upset about that. That is one of the biggest things that pissed me off in Destiny. You knew it was broken, and you gave everyone a taste of what it was, and then took it away, just like you did in D1. That is infuriating. But either way, if you're gonna bring something back from D1 like that, make sure that you bring it back in such a way that we still get a taste of what it was in D1, without it being overpowered and immediately being nerfed.
Just give it a 67% boost in PvE and you're all set.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a big fan of the Icebreaker. 6-round magazine, you get a bullet every 5 seconds or 10.
Yeah, but that's definitely things they've said where, things that break the ammo economy aren't coming back. And while I would love to see that back too, that's one sniper rifle I would willingly use. Yeah, the chances are slim and none.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so you get one shot every 10 seconds. It's not like you're going to have infinite ammo on demand. You know what I'm saying? You got 6 shots you're going to burn through, and then you got to wait a minute to get all 6 shots back.
I think, to be honest, that they tried. I think they were going to bring it back because remember when we had the ritual weapon, the sniper, that generated ammo if you missed a shot? I think that was them testing the waters to see if it could be brought back. And when they found out that it was being used nefariously, they were like, no, we're going to nerf that. And then just not even talk about Icebreaker.
But that works completely different. That's if you miss after 1 second, you get the round back. And if you fire again, you get another round back that next second. You're talking about getting a round every second versus every 10, So essentially, that's 10 times better than the Icebreaker.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I think that was them just testing the waters for that kind of returned ammo economy.
Yeah. I mean, and they did give us reconstruction, which is basically that, but it's just on weapons with already infinite ammo. You're refilling your mag from every 4 seconds when you're not firing it. Sitting, but it's not pulling bullets out of the. I mean, it's pulling kinetic bullets out of the air because all of them come out of the air. But it's pulling them from somewhere, and even with reconstruction on other things with greener or heavy ammo, it's still pulling from somewhere, but it's not just going to pull forever and ever and ever. It's still pulling from your reserves.
It's pulling from your reserves, yeah. Yeah, it's not infinite if it's special or heavy. And we were talking offline the other day about the universal remote. They're like, man, I wish that was back. It's like, why? Universal remote is basically a worse version of reconstruction, except you got the same problem as the Icebreaker. Universal remote gave you free ammo for a while, right? And then I think they nerfed it so that it pulled from your reserves. And at that point in time, it's a worse version of reconstruction,
Yeah.
Auto-loading holster would be better than the universal remote at this point. What I'm saying?
There's so many things that were exotic perks in D1 that are just rank and file weapon perks now. or raid weapon perks now. I mean, even reconstruction and rewind rounds can roll outside of raids. It's like they're just things you can just get now. So it's like bringing. It's going to be hard to bring a lot of these exotics forward in an exciting way. I would much rather say, let's create a new exotic for this. And I feel like I remember hearing Chris Proctor talking about this on maybe when he was on either on Destiny Massive Breakdowns or PvE or one of the podcasts, but I don't remember if they said, I don't remember if he said one way or the other, or if just sort of mentioned like, hey, we're thinking about, thinking about this problem of the exotic is out there. So what do what carrot do you put at the end of that string? Is it a new exotic? Is it something else we're going to build? Is it, just a really good set of weapons that people will want to go for? What's that big draw to go run this raid again?
Sure. I mean, obviously you'd have to revamp the weapons. That's a no-brainer, right? You'd have to revamp the weapons that originally came with that raid. But, I would think that goes without saying. The big problem is, what's the carrot at the end of this thing? Why do you want to beat the boss? Why do you want to get to the end of the boss? Well, you want an exotic of some kind, right? Whether that be that exotic class item or an exotic weapon or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I just don't even know, man. No matter what raid they bring back, I just don't want them to bring back Crota, man. I mean, I want a fun. If you're gonna bring back a raid, bring back a fun raid. Everyone wants this whole nostalgia of bringing back Crota and this and that and the other. I want because they want to go up with the sword. They want to be the guy who solos Crota again. They want to go up with the sword, solo Crota, and be like, yeah, beat my chest because I did a thing. Cool. Anybody can do that, right? I don't want that raid. I want a fun, enjoyable raid. And the only ones that I think were actually fun was Wrath of the Machine and the one with the Sparrow Racing League that I always forget, even though it's my favorite.
Scourge of the Past.
Scourge of the Past. Thank you. Yeah, those were actually fun raids. And then, like you said, you just got to come up with the carrots at the end of the stick. Revamp the weapons, cool. Give the weapons perks from the new pool, cool. And then what do we do for the exotic? Boom. Maybe we can give them. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, but either way, I just not Crota. Come on, just. Please, not Crota. It was boring then. It's boring now. Unless they do something to really, really, really change it, in which case it's not really Crota anymore anyway, right? And I don't know. I have a bad taste in my mouth for Crota. I don't want it to come back. It's not that it was a bad raid or anything. It's just there are better ones out there. There are more fun ones out there to bring back. That's not Crota.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of where we landed too. It's like the Crota is just not, Crota and like the raid layers are just not exciting enough, not interesting enough to bring back.
Right.
And like Scourge, not Scourge, but yeah, Wrath of the Machine is sort of, another big, beautiful raid with really cool set pieces to bring back and sort of complete that. Hey, here's sort of like the good beloved ones we've brought back. And Crota is such a dungeon, like it doesn't make sense as a raid in Destiny 2 when we have dungeons.
True. That is
similar to the raid layers. It's like raid layers are also just dungeons. I mean, it's all. I mean, I could, maybe there's a world where they say like here's the Crota and raid layer or Leviathan and raid layer dungeon and raid pack that they bring back as a thing. Now, I'm not saying they should, but I'm saying if you're going to bring those back, bundle those together as something, or bring them back together across 3 seasons. Hey, the final shape, 3 seasons, you get the raid and then the 2 layers. But again, I don't see them bringing those back because I just don't think the demand is there. And the time and investment to revamp those doesn't seem worth it.
Could you combine them?
Well, right? Yeah, that's what the 19 was saying too, is just do one mega raid. Or take Crota and expand it out. But I think we'd much rather have new things, not retread old content. So, give me the thing, update it, release it. Don't spend all this time revamping an old thing just to have a twist on the old thing that is still just the old thing, kind of.
So, like, when you say, like, a mega raid, like, I was thinking of something like you do Crota, and after you've killed Crota, you need to go from Crota ship to the Taken King ship, right? So you go from one hive ship to another hive ship to take that hive god out, right? So you've taken 2 of the smaller raids and combined them together to make a larger raid. Is that what you were talking about, or you were talking about something else?
I've got speedrun.
Yeah.
5-class speedrun. Yeah, all of them in succession. Boom, boom, boom.
Or do you think they'll do like the underbelly of the Leviathan and go, right, we're bringing Crown back and we're bringing the 2 raid layers back as one mega raid now? But say you started with Eater of Worlds and you cleared out the engine first, you then moved on to Crown of Sorrow, and then Spiral Stars was like at the top of the ship. You kind of completed that. Maybe they kind of combine those.
That's not bad. And that's all one raid, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, or for the people that don't know their way, right? Wherever you end up, you're like, oops, looks like we're doing Spiral Stars first. You know?
2 doors enter, and load you into one or the other.
Right? Well, depending on where you go, right? Like you could choose which order you want to do it in, right? You want to do Spire of Stars first? Boom, go do that. You want to do freaking what's his face? Fight him as the robot, Callus? You want to do that one? Boom, do that one. You want to do Eater of Worlds? Boom, do that one first, right? Depending on how you navigate the belly determines which order you do the 3 raids in, you know? And for those people like me that get lost, it's always a surprise. What are we going to do? I don't know. What's behind this door? Oh, look at that. It's this one. Great. A little more incentive to have map awareness, I guess. But yeah. What you said is a good idea, too, to do it in order. I just think it would be, I like to mess with people. So in order to mess with people, there's no specific order. It's wherever you navigate to first. You have, A side, B side, and C side, which is, the 3 raids. And whichever place you navigate under the belly first is which one you do.
Zur shows up. There's 3 plates. You stand on the 3 plates. One of them opens a door, and that's the one you're doing.
Yeah.
That'd be too easy, though. No, you got to navigate to it, man. You got to go through the belly of the beast.
That's what I'm saying. You get through the end, but then you get through the thing, and then you get the 3 plates of Zur, and also just it's already in the game, so they wouldn't do this. But your plate, take your pick.
Yeah, and then have like the underbelly actually be like dangerous, instead of you just hopping through and doing your thing. Well, now you got to worry about turrets, now you got to worry about enemies, and now you got to worry about falling platforms. It's not just a jumping puzzle; it's a jumping puzzle actively trying to kill you. That would be actually. I think I've just pissed off a lot of people by saying that, so I take it back. But jumping puzzles are hard enough. We don't need them trying to kill us.
One thing that I didn't realize this week until I either heard it on like a guide or just a video or another podcast was that the exotic mission that you can do through Deep Dive, I think it was through the Last Word actually, was that I didn't realize that the debuffs you get at the beginning of the screen where it says, you're loading into Deep Dive and here are the debuffs that you've got against you.
That's right. Yeah, I wanted to know because I wanted you to elaborate on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I messaged you guys in the chat because I thought I've got to remember this to tell people on the show. So each week it will change depending on what the debuffs are on that screen when you load into Deep Dive to say, taking enemies to do more damage or X amount, we've got chafe on, we've got this on. Those actually carry across into that exotic part of the mission, which I didn't realize until I was kind of told that. Your buffs do not carry across that you kind of get from Asha, Asta. They don't carry across, but the debuffs do carry across. Because the first week that it kind of came out, I was getting frozen by some of the kind of taken blasts. I'm thinking, and then looking back on it this week, because unfortunately, Peroty, you weren't there, but we managed to get Donnie through his exotic mission. Me and Noble took him through. And nice. I wasn't getting frozen, but I think I was getting burnt a lot more this week. And I hadn't paid any attention to those debuffs. So just to make people aware, if you're going to do that exotic mission through the Deep Dive, pay attention to that opening screen because that will also have an effect on your exotic mission.
That's good to know. Because, I only tried the 1 week where everything was freezing me. And it's, to sit there, I mean, it was like when Stasis released in the Crucible all over again. Just sitting there, being frozen, being killed, being frozen, being killed. It's like do anything else to me, and I can combat that except for suspend me to strand. Thankfully, they don't have the trick.
Not yet.
I'd much rather have anything else happen to me because that I can combat.
But that final boss room where it kind of it's pitch black and you've got all those enemies and you're getting frozen every 5 seconds, and then he's just coming along and stomping you like, oh my god. But I did not realise that has an effect on it. So I just thought I'd kind of make sure that people are aware of that.
Yeah, I suddenly just need some time to go back in there and get the scout rifle that everyone's deeply in love with. Just kidding.
Well, sort of in love with. I've seen videos like Respawn said last week, people loving it, people hating it, and then Bungie coming out and saying it's going to get a buff of some kind, or we're going to change it to make it a little bit more kind of user-friendly or make people use it a lot more. But I've been killed by it in PvP. People still love it in PvP.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I saw it in Iron Banner. People...
Yeah,
in Disjunction, nice wide open map, pop across me, across the world with the lovely new toy. Yeah, and I figure, I need to have it so I can put it into my vault.
I mean, it's no Dead Man's Tale, but yeah, it still looks like it could be a good one.
Yeah.
So, look, is this the only gun in Destiny that can freeze people on hit in PvP? Not freeze, slow. It slows people on hit. And then if they keep getting shot, then they get frozen, right? I know other guns can freeze in PvP, but is this the only one that can slow in PvP?
I have no idea. Possibly.
I don't know because I don't use stasis.
But you have to land the precision hits to get the slow. So normally, I mean,
for some people that's not hard.
But it hits. It depends on what your resilience is in PvP, because you get 3 tapped with this thing and you're out of it. But you could slow the next person.
I see. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, gents. Well, I appreciate you asking for my 2 cents. But we're about to drop off the puppy chow and pick up the crew and go to the beach.
Don't forget the $100.
Don't forget the what? The $100 for what?
What follows is a brief construction montage.
Hopefully, we will get to your email next week. I do apologise. I had kind of read it and then missed bringing it up on the last couple of shows, but we will get to responding to your email next week, hopefully.
I was going to bring it up this week, but the show was a little long. But trust that I will bring it up next week. It's in the chat. It's right in my face. And if he doesn't bring it up, I will. Right? So we got you, Mom. Don't worry.
I need to ask you a quick question.
I will wager $100 Respawn does not, in fact, bring it up unprompted next week.
Really?
You're going to have to pay him now because you've already told me you're on holiday next week. Hang on, he's thinking about it now. He's thinking.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you told me you're on holiday next week.
If you think that I won't open up a laptop on the middle of the beach to win $100, you are out your damn mind.
Do I take this bet and believe he'll remember, or see someone? Do I think he'll remember? Not necessarily. Do I think someone will remind you? Absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's what I can't count on.
I would hope
Looking at you, T-Rex.
If I forgot, I would hope so. Oh, the $100. Oh yeah. Because Peroty owes me $100. That's right. Yeah.
Are you coming back?
What were you saying?
What $100 for?
I showed up.
Are you coming back
to the show? Probably not.
Okay.
Not today. I mean, not today. Definitely the next show.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Are you going to come back to the show? Are you going to go to the beach and then come back? That's what I was just checking.
Nah, dude. Once we hit the beach, it's basically that's
beach.
it.
Well, okay. Thank you very much for popping in and seeing us.
Enjoy the beach.
Yeah, well, of course, man. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Well, you would.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, bye.
Deuces. So now he's gone, we can remind him that he was going to get the $100 only if he remembered to come in and read the email. Nothing to do with popping in and seeing us.
Right. I was going to say, yes, you showed up, but
you didn't remember the email.
That was not the agreement.
No. There you go. So you've lucked out, Respawn. I wasn't going to remind you, and I certainly Peroty wasn't going to remind you.
No. That defeats the purpose entirely.
But we do have some more Destiny stuff to go over. Like you said, we had Destiny 2 update 7.1.5 this week.
We did.
Now, we did go through some of these over the last couple of weeks when they said they were going to change some of the like weapons and stuff. Is there anything in there that we kind of didn't go over?
Don't know if we didn't go over. fixed some spawn things in trials, which is always good times. They did fix, again, if you've been playing Terminal Overload and it was, stopping at stage 3, that should be fixed now. Guardian rank icons are things that are there. Past rank 100 doing things, fix some Eververse things that weren't working. Nothing too terribly exciting, different glows, different textures, those have been fixed. Really, the important thing is that your Graviton Lance now does 67% more damage in PvE. That's really all you need to know. But out of this patch, I mean, it's like it truly was just like a patch of fixed a lot of different random things, little things here, little things there. I'm glancing through this to see if there's any other like big headline like, hey, you should be aware of this.
I mean, the things like the abilities, they said they fix or reduce the maximum overshield from 100 hit points to 50 for Whisper of Rhyme, which I think they did kind of tell us. Whisper of Change, they reduced the damage in PvP from 15 to 5. Non-player combatants now deal 50% damage to Whisper of Rhyme overshields. Things like that, they kind of did go over that. And the Strand, the Threaded Spectre, the Fletching Storm, and the Wanderer will now display unique icons in the kill feed in the PvP activities, because obviously you needed to know what you were getting killed with. They fixed an issue where the Threadlings were colliding with detonators near Supremacy Crest, and they fixed an issue where the Wanderer aspect erroneously showed the Threadlings flying out tutorial.
Yeah. They did also, it answers the question we had of what about the cosmology rounds in the Graviton Lance. So they did reduce the damage to players by 40%. In PvE though, the cosmology damage remains unchanged. Yes, so PvE cosmology rounds, same thing, 67% damage buff. In PvP, the cosmology rounds were decreased by 40%. And they removed the extra aim assist provided by the catalyst. So it's still a ridiculous monster in PvE. PvP, it's now,
it's more than a monster now. It's
able to be fought against.
A monster with many heads. And I will link a video by Fallout Plays who goes over the damage numbers and shows you what it can kind of do in PvE. And he's got a couple of good builds at the end of his video for you to kind of check out. He also went through all the different changes with the weapons. He did a video on those. I mean, like he said, Fighting Lion, where they fixed an issue where the perk wasn't working from the catalyst, but he was like, that should have been working.
You're no time to explain, they reduced the range stat by 10. Navigator fixed an issue where the perk timer wasn't showing. Your perk timer was up. Cerberus +1 reduced damage to stasis crystals because someone's out there running their Cerberus +1. And they did, if you've got things with the Gutshot Trait, Slick Draw, and Target Lock, those changes have gone into effect.
Yes.
The Gutshot Trait now reduces your auto-aim penalty by 37.5%. Same thing, the auto-aim penalty on Slick Draw is now reduced by 33%, and your Target Lock, the maximum damage versus players, so PvP, went from 40 to 25%. Your damage in PvE remains unchanged. So if you've got your favorite retrofit escapade that everyone said, hey, this is what you need for the boss fight to get your Wicked Implement and Scout Rifle, that will remain unchanged. They just took it down in PvP, so the Immortal no longer destroys all things with Target Lock from here until the end of time. Amen.
But with the Gutshot Straight getting a buff, Destiny Fun Police this week put out a really cool video. So the Amit AR2 is a craftable auto rifle that I believe that you get as part of the crafting quest when you go to, I think it's when we loaded up one of the seasons, it suddenly went, here's a couple of weapons, here's how to do crafting. And the Amit AR2 was an auto rifle, a solar auto rifle that we were kind of given and gone, go and craft this. Now, Destiny Fun Police has done the testing in PvP and shown you how good a Gutshot Straight like auto rifle can be in PvP now. And it's amazing. I mean, he's got his to, I think, level whatever, so he can get the enhanced perks on there. So if you can get it to, I think it's level 17, it fully unlocks that you can then go and put the enhanced perks on there. But even without that, the normal Gutshot is working pretty good in PvP. And then I got a Void one to drop. The Positive Outlook is a Void auto rifle, the same archetype, it's a precision frame auto rifle, the same as the AR2. And that came with Gutshot Straight and Perpetual Motion. And a range of 79, so it had more range than what I'd crafted my ammo at. But again, that was doing really well, and it had high caliber rounds, so it was flinching people. So I've now got 2 of these weapons that are doing really well in PvP, and I actually took them into trials. And if I wasn't facing a trials god, even then I was still kind of getting good damage on people and getting a few kills here and there in one-on-one engagements. So that was quite nice. So yeah, if you've got an Amet AR2, or look out for the positive outlook, which is just a random drop I think I got from something, and just happened to have a look on it, and it showed me the Gutshot straight. And I was like, yep, I'm going to keep that one, but then I'm going to kind of slowly level up the Amat so I can get the enhanced perk on there. So have you tried the Gutshot on the auto rifles yet?
I hadn't, and I don't think I have any with it currently. But yeah, and that's why I was just looking down. So yeah, when you aim down sights, increases your body shot damage. So basically, Gutshot straight is for the rest of us going, I'm not going to hit those crits, but I can hit you. Absolutely, I can hit you. So yeah, I don't have it. I did see that video, and I saw people. I saw it dropping on the positive outlook, or at least I saw the positive outlook dropping. And I think the Emmett is also just a world drop at this point. Open an engram, you have a chance to get one. So if either of those auto rifles drop for you, at least take a peek and see if it rolls with a Gutshot.
I mean, I've got an out of bounds arc submachine gun that has got Gutshot straight on there, and then having a look through the rest of the stuff that I've got in my vault, there was the Whistler's Whim, which was the bow that you could get from trials, which when we discussed trials coming or getting stuff from the trials engrams last week, I think it was, you can still get that from the trials engrams. Now, I think the role that it must have been Cool Guy, I think, was telling us about was Gutshot straight and Killing Wind. Now, I haven't tested it yet, but I'm looking forward to taking that into PvP and testing that out to see how kind of that does now, because it was doing really well back then, and now with the buff to Gutshot, I'll see how that goes. And then Miss 5000 Watts on the DCP podcast was saying that sidearms are really good, as well as submachine guns, but sidearms with Gutshot straight are really good. And I've got an Allied Demanded from Iron Banner with Gutshot straight and rangefinder on there. So I might try and take that one into trials. And then recently I got a Boudica C, which was just a random well drop with Gutshot on there, and Slick Draw. But I don't know how that's going to pair well. So I'll try those and see how those go. But yeah, the
you have to combine like 66% more auto aim at this point between those two perks and getting their buffs.
Well, I mean, the Slick Draw says that it significantly increases the handling, but decreases the target acquisition. And then, yeah, like with the Gutshot, it increases the aim down sights damage and decreases the target acquisition. So maybe I've got no target acquisition; it'll be all over the place. But we'll see how that goes.
But it might work out better, yeah. So if you were also running to your favorite, D2 Foundry or D2 Gunsmith to say, can this roll with incandescent and things? No, because Gutshot is in the same perk slot. That's the word. Gosh,
perk slot. Yeah,
struggling. Yeah. So Gutshot is in that fourth slot along with incandescent or repulsor brace. So it can't roll alongside those two. It can roll alongside some things like surplus, ambitious assassin, triple tap, and dynamic sway reduction. You might want on your auto rifles, but you're not going to set people on fire and shoot them in the gut for more damage.
Yeah. Now, one thing that we don't normally talk about Xur, but one thing I did notice from Xur this week from checking out the Xur videos is that he's got a couple of craftable weapons that you can put the red borders on. So these red borders that you get from I can't remember the name of them now.
The harmonic
something.
Yeah. I can see the picture in
Deepsight Harmonizer. The Deepsight Harmonizers, you get 5 in the season pass this season. I think there's 3 on the paid track and 2 on the non-paid track. I didn't realize you can only pick up 1 at a time. So you can't pick up all 5 and keep them in your inventory. It's 1 at a time. You can add a red border to a weapon that says you can add a red border to. So, for example, I got the Rufus's Fury from the raid this week, and on that it says that I can add a red border to it. Now, the one that I bought from the chest afterwards, that wasn't a red border, it says that I can't. So some of the craftable weapons you can. There were certain kind of restrictions to stop people from buying them, but I think that you can go to Xur, and I think the gunsmith this week also had, I think he had an ore stringer. And Destiny Fun Plays visited him, but couldn't see the red border thing when it came to purchase. And I went there as well. I was like, no, there's no red border thing, but it is a craftable weapon. So I don't know if that was one of the restrictions that you can't buy it from Banshee because you could purchase multiple rolls of it. I think that was the thing, wasn't it? You can't purchase it. It has to be a drop to get the window to say, oh, you can add a red border to it. So I'm going to go to Xur and see if I can pick up, I think it was Tears of Contrition, which is the scout rifle from Season of the Haunted that I'm missing 2 patterns from to add a red border.
I wouldn't say you're missing it, but yeah. You do need to add it to the collection so it can be theoretically craftable. So one day you could craft if you wanted to. Yeah, because I saw the same video and he was saying, he was saying, like, I'm not sure if it's because I already have my Allstringer unlocked is why it's not showing it to me. Yeah. But it does appear that no, do you have yours unlocked as well?
Yes.
Like, as a craftable thing? Yeah, because I do as well. I was going to say, so none of us can check and triple check this, but yeah. So, if you've got the materials, go visit Banshee. If when he sells it again and apply a red border to it, or if not, just wait for it to come up from Xur. Yeah, that's if no other reason, that's why I watch Fallout's 1 minute Xur video each week. One, because I like my content condensed into a perfect minute, and also he tells me exactly what I should care about or what I shouldn't.
Yes.
We do have it this week in Destiny for the 20th of July, 2023, all about Solstice.
We can still call it the TWAB. Well, I'm going with DCP on this one. We're going to stick to calling it the TWAB. Until Marathon comes out, it's still this week at Bungie.
And really this week I can just say the Thursday blog post for the 20th of 7, 2023.
Yeah, we'll go with that one then.
The EAZ is back, if you may have noticed, or if you didn't notice, the EAZ is still back. We're not going to tell you what we talked about last week because we talked about it last week for multiple hours. So you should be well versed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a quick catch up on Solstice 2023. Our next developer insights article just around the corner. The winner of the Bungie Foundation Community Emblem Contest. Ooh, is that Ghost? 2 Trials weapons are leaving the loot pool soon. The new Solstice sunglasses are here, Nitedemon, and Prime Gaming rewards are back. And the weekly Destiny Play Report, and our community with the always amazing art and movies of the week. They have all of that.
They do.
And maybe more, or maybe it'll be just that. So yeah, Solstice is here. You can have your lovely sunlit armor. You can upgrade it, and then go, I've upgraded this helmet now. I don't have to upgrade it anymore. I can just randomly roll it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, it's spiky. I think I've gotten the helmet. Again, I've been playing Warlock this week because this is now the all Warlock show.
Yeah.
And I have been playing Warlock, and I got my Warlock helmet completely upgraded, with all of the kindling.
Kindling to upgrade it with silver ash from the silver leaves being burnt on the bonfires.
Yep. So I've shoved all those into it like a dutiful Warlock should. And I have the sunlit gloves almost upgraded, but let me tell you, you can get some spiky armor out of this event. So, I know people have said it. If for no other reason, that's a reason to spend some time at least doing this. Because again, you can just play the game and earn the kindling and then run a couple of bonfires, turn them into ash. And then, in the course of doing that, you're completing most of the activities. Like, I think I was done with about half of the event card. I didn't buy the extra one because I don't care about the emotes that come with it. But I think I was probably done the first 4, 5, or 6 event card things in an hour or 2 of just playing the game.
Which is a lot quicker than it has been in previous years, isn't it?
Yeah, like you could easily knock this all out in a week. There's nothing. I mean, again, I haven't looked at the 2 or 3 I'm missing to finish, but there's nothing where it's there is no go kill 50 red bars, or go kill 50 yellow bars, so you have to farm an encounter as we have in past seasons. But I have these sunlit gloves that have a 22 discipline and a 23 resilience spike on them.
Nice.
So I can easily take that to a 33 resilience and a 22 discipline on a single piece of gloves, on a single glove. And I've got a helmet that is sitting right now at a 16 recovery and 23 discipline. The totals aren't high. The totals are only 55 for this helmet and 53 for the gloves. But the spikes are ridiculous.
Okay, because I think DCP was saying that a lot of people were saying that they're very low rolls, but Some people are only just kind of getting into like 66, 67, but just like 1 in a billion kind of thing. Which
totally, yeah, and I'm wondering too. Like once I have them upgraded all the way, and then I re-roll them a couple more times. Like I said, like these gloves, I'm not touching. Like I'm very happy with my double 20s. And again, like I don't need a whole set of armor to be incredible. If I can get like a second set of gloves, because I think right now, whenever I go to D2 armor picker, it's like you're using these gloves. You have exactly one pair that goes with every outfit, because that is like the one pair that fits in perfectly. So if I can end this up with a good chest piece or a good arms or a good boot roll that I can just use as fodder for D2 armor picker, I'm a happy boy. So that makes it like, yeah, I mean, and it does take your ghost mod into account. So like I've got the discipline armorer mod on my ghost. So it's going to give me a high discipline roll, which then gives me, a better chance of getting mobility, resilience, or recovery. And really 2 of those 3 is what I'm going for.
Yeah.
And then when you get the last piece to put in, it'll give you, it says like on the screen, this will give you a guaranteed 20 in this roll in the slot you put it in. So you can very easily end up with a double 20 piece of armor. Now it seems to be, at least in my once or twice doing this, it'll give you that, but only that. It's not like, doesn't seem like your odds are higher, but again, it's a slot machine. You try your best. The only thing I'll say is if you do have a really nice roll, maybe don't re-roll that particular piece of armor, because you don't have to upgrade, the next piece of sunlight gear in that same slot. It still has, whatever you've unlocked, it'll keep that unlocked, so you don't have to upgrade them all every single time. But you do have to say, do I want to re-roll this and risk losing the roll I have for something worse? Or do I just, play Bonfire Bash, get another piece to drop, and re-roll that one and see where that takes me?
Okay.
I do feel like the text on the screen was pretty clear about here's how to do this, here's what you need to do, which is better than previous seasons where it's like, here's a new material, good luck.
Yeah. I mean, saying that with Solstice, there are a couple of cool videos out there from Cheese Forever on the fastest way to get you silver leaves, and then there's a fast way solo and AFK that he has at the moment. So I'll link those in the show notes. And then
does it involve going into Bonfire Bash and AFKing it? Because don't be that person.
No, it's not. It's going to Neomuna and doing that kind of area. But there are certain constraints to getting some of them done. And there's the first relic glitch for Solstice, Infinite Fletchling Storms on the Titan. Have you seen this one?
I saw people talking about it, but I haven't seen the video. Okay,
so Cheese Forever's got a video on it. So this is the artifact that came out this season with Strand that you can put on. So it's the one where you slide, you jump in the air, and then you can kind of throw out the fletchlings. And you can infinitely do that if you pick up one of the balls from killing. Instead of throwing it at the bonfire, you pick it up, then you activate the slide and jump, and then you get infinite in-air kind of fletchlings. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I first saw it on TikTok, and then Cheese had done a video on it and showing people how to kind of do it. So I'll link those in the show notes. Also, Ibontis has an updated guide for this year on how to complete Solstice. So if you didn't see last week's one on last year's one, I'll link it in the show notes for this year, and then probably use it again next year when we go into Solstice and it's the same thing next year, and go look at Ibontis' video from last year or 2 years ago. So that will also be in our show notes for you to check out. If you are hesitant about getting into Solstice, just do it. It's a bit of fun, a bit of fun. Grab some friends. And the armor's pretty cool, even without the glows.
Yeah,
and you get it all for free.
Yeah, there's absolutely no investment. There's no downside. The only thing you might get is some better armor rolls. Like that's it. You can collect yourself some hand cannons or rocket launchers or not. But yeah, I mean, the armor is what I'm sort of interested in. The hand cannon, fine, whatever. The rocket launcher, it's a rocket launcher. But you can add one to your collection, and if Dim tells you it's a good one or if it's one you like, enjoy.
So yeah, looking at the crowning duologue, which is the rocket launcher. Now, if you go to d2foundry.gg, you can look this up. And what's pretty cool about this is you can click to either do a PvP or PvE role. If you do PvE, it will kind of show you bosses and strikes and things like that. So it's pretty cool. So you can go down and check which ones that you kind of want. But then I was hearing, I think it was Ebontis was saying there's no good rolls on it. Although it comes with a precision frame, these precision frame rocket launchers they're not up there in the meta of rocket launchers. So it may be one that you want to kind of get the best set of perks for now, and then later on it might do well in whatever. But I could see from kind of looking at it at the moment, because it's a precision frame. It says the weapon fires a small auto-tracking missile. Missiles lock onto targets when aimed. So it's got auto-locking tracking missiles. If you got something like chain reaction on it or cluster bombs with auto-loading holster, I could see that doing pretty well. You know, you shoot out your cluster bombs, get the tracking, you stow it away, wait for it to reload while you're firing your other weapon. It auto-loads, you get it back out, fire the weapon, auto-tracking. I could see that pretty decent. Or, you know, even a chain reaction with auto-loading holster. You know, maybe not hatchling. Yeah, I wouldn't really go with like Swashbuckler or Envious Assassin or Adrenaline Junkie. Maybe that might be able to stack up the damage. But yeah, that's what I could. If I was going to go for it, I'd go for an auto-loading one because it comes with auto tracking on there, and then go for the extra damage perk on the end.
Yeah, I mean it does roll with that Dreamwork. You know, all these weapons roll with the Dreamwork Origin trait, which once per reload, assist, or assisted final blow, partially refills the weapon from reserves, potentially overflowing the magazine. So and the community note basically says, you know, you can assist, you get a kill, fill 66% of your mag, can activate only once before needing a manual reload. Your magazine can always overflow and is always rounded up. So you've got a chance to, you know, have a, you know, auto reloading rocket launcher, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
No. Yeah, and you know, black powder. Impact casing, depending on how you want to kind of go for it. But have a look on d2foundry.gg and see which role you kind of want to go for, and then go for it. But then saying that, I was watching the Aztecross video this week on, he's called it a 2-tap demon, but the hand cannon that's available, which is
that's what we call you,
something new, which is your stasis primary hand cannon. And I have got one from last year, if I can find that to kind of talk about. There it is. Oh, no. Why am I... Oh, it's because it doesn't want me to compare it. I don't want to compare it. Don't be silly. So again, yeah, they came with the Dreamwork perk last year. But I've seen a lot of videos saying it's pretty meh. But then Aztecross has found a 2-tap version. And I will link it in the show notes for you to kind of check out. Because it may be one that you want to kind of get. I think he was saying that the aim assistance on it is very, very good. And I mean, I think that was the reason why it was around last year. Do you remember this or not?
I mean, I remember from last year. Yeah, I mean, the ones this year do have an aim assist of 60, which feels high. Yeah. I don't know how it compares to other hand cannons, and it's it's a 120 aggressive frame, so I don't know where that sits, but 60 feels high, and the impact is, you know, ridiculous on it. I'm just looking at, I have 3 just on me, you know, impact of 92, range in the, you know, 69, you know, to 73 range, and then 68 aim assist. So, you know, don't jump and
yeah. I mean,
it hits hard.
From the 120s that I've got available in my vault, I can compare them against Criminal's Dagger, True Prophecy, and the Duke MK44, which is a really old one. And it's at the bottom of aim assist, to be honest. Criminal's Dagger's got 72. My True Prophecy's got 72. The Duke MK44 is 69, and that was really good back in the day. But this one's got aim assistance of 60, but 2-tap is what Aztecross is calling it. So yeah, check the video out if you're into your 120s. And also saying that, I watched a video from Patagates Gaming this week, which I thought was going to help me clear out my vault, but it's kind of given me some conflicting information on stuff, where he ranks every hand cannon in a tier list from S down to F. Now, there's a lot of F ones in there, but what you've got to take into account is that he's using it from a Crucible standpoint, so from PvP. So that there may be some good ones in there that you might want to keep for PvE activities, but he's going through it for a kind of Crucible. And a lot of 120s are up in the A's, A stars, and S tiers, and he goes through every kind of hand cannon, even exotics as well. So if you're not sure about an exotic, and I was he's put Crimson in. I think it was either a B or just an A rating. And Crimson in Crucible these days, if you're going into like trials or like anything competitive, I found that really, really good to use. Because as soon as I switched on to using the Crimson when we played a couple of weeks back in the group that we were playing in, I found that I was winning a lot more engagements because the other team were using Crimson. It was like you get a kill and you get that health back instantly with the catalyst on. Oh no, the catalyst just gives you 20 range, but yeah, just with the perk on there, just so yeah. I'll link that one in the show notes as well. The one from Padgates Gaming on the hand cannon tier list for PvP. So.
Yeah, well,
sorry to keep diverting off to it's just the way I've watched these videos this week, and I'm thinking, oh, that's handy to know and tell people about. So
yeah, no, absolutely, and as always, all of these videos will be linked in the show notes. So if you were like, what did he say? Who made that one? It's all in the show notes. It's in the show notes every week. That's why we put them there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go, I know you said this. So just open all the videos in some tabs and watch them all or find the one you're most interested in. My hand cannon method is malfeasance and then everything else, or malfeasance. Whatever Dim says, here's a thumbs up, and then everything else.
Yeah, and speaking of, I know you're saying about malfeasance, but next season, malfeasance could possibly break Destiny. Now, this is according to a video from Above, which I watched this week, going over plus 2,000 damage. Now, you'd have to swap to a hunter, but this could possibly be the way forward, especially for hunters. And it's to do with the Lucky Pants perk. Now, on the Lucky Pants, when you ready a stowed hand cannon, if it's a kinetic one, if I find the Lucky Pants, so when you ready a fully loaded hand cannon that deals kinetic damage or damage type that matches your subclass energy type, each hit from that hand cannon increases the damage of the next shot for a short time against combatants. Hand cannon ready faster and more accurately immediately after swapping to them and provides a small benefit of airborne effectiveness. So, with the hand cannons getting a buff next season, I believe it was that they were pointing out, or Above was pointing out in his video, with the malfeasance already doing pretty well in PvE activities, this could be a really, really good pairing with the malfeasance, the Lucky Pants. So keep an eye on that one. That video will also be linked in the show notes.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, because I'm looking at the Lucky Pants, community insight and dim. 60% increased damage per hit for 5.5 seconds, maxes out at 600% after 10 hits. It does say, Ariana's Vow only receives 30% increased damage, Sturm's overcharge rounds. Oh, Malfeasance Explosive Shadow, Hawkmoon's Paracausal Shot, and Payload are all unaffected by the buff.
But that's the Explosive Shadow perk, but the actual shot...
Yeah, but the rounds themselves might do more. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering, I wonder if they call that out specifically. And yes, I do have a pair of Lucky Pants in my vault. My hunter's a 1668, but he's not totally undressed.
Well, we'll have to get him spiffing for next season then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
We'll be 3 hunters next season in this podcast. That'll please him.
3 hunters and a warlock.
You can't have 3 hunters and a warlock, it's just 3 hunters. 3
Absolutely
hunters,
can.
no warlocks, no titans. But we do have a winner of our first community emblem contest, and it's a banger.
Oh, but Nitedemon, you skipped over the entire developer insights that are incoming.
I did, because they're incoming. They're not here.
That's all. Like, what? Why? Why was this a thing you called up above? Why?
It's coming.
Anyway. Yeah, they're going to talk about masterworking currencies and weapons later. But they put like 3 sentences in today to tell us it's going to
It'll be next Wednesday. We'll get to next Saturday and we'll have lots to discuss. But the winner of the emblem is really nice.
It is really nice.
It kind of makes me wish that I wanted to do that, but I didn't. See, I didn't have the confidence to do it. Alex did.
See? Alex did. Alex was like, listen, I can make this happen. I have a beautiful Saiyan 14. I've got Gary's gig. It's something with a G. It's one of those G weapons on here. It's fine.
Yeah. Very, very nice design. Very jealous. So congratulations to you, Alex. You did a banging job.
That is very cool. And if you click through the link, they have in the blog post that we will not speak the name of, it shows him in game with his emblem on his character, which is just lovely. Which maybe this was something Did he get it early? Did he get it in the game? We'll see.
No, I think
lovely.
it's just a mock-up, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, it's probably not in the game yet. Yeah, but here's the mock-up of how it will look once you get it in the game. But yeah, that's a good one. That might give the broken Windows blue screen one a run for its money.
Yeah,
I really like that one. It's nice, Notepad. For those of us who are going, listening to this, going, tell us what it is. It's like you're sitting in school, scribbling in the corners of your notebook, and just drawing, Gallahorn, Saint 14, Traveler. It's just like a nice little collection of doodles with the Destiny logo, and it'll be in game whenever they told us they were going to put it in the game, which I don't remember and I don't see here. So eventually. Now I have a very special message from your ghost.
Okay.
The Bungie's Foundation Bungie Day Giving Festival is coming to a close tomorrow. So as you hear this, it's already closed. You missed it. Great job, or my condolences, you didn't, donate money to possibly win a thing. Obviously, Bungie has already reached their goal of $777,777 because, of course, they did. And there is a grand prize. Somebody will get it. There's a bunch of Final Shape Annual Pass game codes. The bundle of 7 PlayStation titles. Somebody will win all those too. We don't know who. Somebody will. So, if you've already donated, great. If you haven't donated, it's probably too late by the time you hear this. So, good job. Nolan North has some words for you.
He does. Lots of words. And we'll link that in the show notes.
Indeed. Yeah. So we as a community have raised, at recording time, $938,332. So that is more than 6 sevens in a row. Good job, community.
And 2 trials weapons are exiting the pool.
Oh, no.
So as we have about 3 weeks left of playing trials, because there's no Iron Banner, so you've got trials all the way to the end. 2 weapons will exit the trials loot pool to make room for 2 new ones at the start of Season 22. Which ones? The Exalted Truth hand cannon and the Unwavering Duty machine gun. So this just means that the Adept and Standard versions won't be rewards post-match starting Season 22, but you can always grab them from focusing engrams with Saint 14. The Unwavering Duty's last trials weekend will be July 28th, which is next weekend, whilst the Exalted Truth will be the 4th of August. And if you're still looking for the Adept version of some nice rolls, probably both, then at least you know. You know, and we know, even Respawn knows. One new weapon.
No, there's no real guarantee of that.
Actually, yeah. One new weapon and a rock-solid favourite will be in Season 22, along with the Messenger, the Immortal, Astral Horizon, and Unexpected Resurgence. So I think they were kind of guessing about this one online, that it's probably going to be the hand cannon back again, which was the... If we love hand cannons, we know what they are, and
you can tell us as soon-to-be hunter mains absolutely can tell you it is going to be the not that one.
Not that one.
That's the wrong one. Igneous Hammer.
That's the one. The Igneous. Oh, that's the only one I ever got an Adept on.
Ooh.
I have an Adept one. I actually went flawless once.
And
that's all I got.
Too fancy.
Yeah.
I've got one with the Dim tells me has a thumbs up on it, so it lives in the vault at 1600, and that's where it lives.
My Adept one does not have any thumbs up, so
that's okay.
It's okay for me. Yeah,
you can make it better.
I could try, but I tell you what, I'm not going to do is I'm not going to purchase the sunglasses from Solstice, because you know why?
No,
I'm a cave dweller. I live in the cave, even when it's sunny and hot. I'm indoors. So no,
that's true.
But you look like a man that enjoys a nice pair of sunglasses, and from Numbskull, so they're a decent pair as well.
Well, unfortunately, I will not be either, because unless they have a prescription version, they will also not help me. But maybe Respawn. No, he wears glasses too. Somebody out there certainly must live in a sunny place and not already wear glasses that can use these lovely sunglasses.
Well, I suppose you can buy them and take them to your opticians and say, please put in my lenses, couldn't you?
I suppose you could try.
Yeah. So there.
Assuming they ever show up about a month after you place your order.
Yeah. You do have to complete the one of the Solstice triumphs to get them, though.
You need to stoke the bonfire in Bonfire Bash 35 times to complete the Fuel for the Fire challenge in order to receive these, or to try to receive these, and they are $30 in case you're wondering.
As long as we do it before the end of Solstice, which ends at 9:59 a.m. PDT on August 8th. And check your local times here, so you can check your local times there. So it's normally reset time. There's a minute before reset time on the 8th. There
you go.
And we have some Prime Gaming rewards. They're back. Amazon Prime Gaming rewards are back. So if you are missing the Catching Rays Exotic Solstice emote, the Soul Piercer Exotic ship, which was from Solstice, they're just giving them away now. Amazon are giving them to you, so you don't even need to go to the Bright Dust store and purchase these or use silver. They're there. You can just get them if you link your Bungie.net account to your Amazon Prime account. If you have that, or your parents have that, ask their permission, get it linked, get free gaming stuff. Good. Solstice stuff. The Blue Sky Legendary Solstice Ghost Shell. I didn't realize that one was from Solstice as well. And the High Surfer Solstice themed Legendary Ghost Projection, which is new. I haven't seen that one before, so that's another new one. Sometimes they also throw in an emblem that they just don't tell you about here. So unless I go and check, I don't know. What about you? Are you going to check?
I will check, and I will go receive all the things. Yeah, but I saw the High Surf one. I thought it was new as well. I was like, I don't remember that being a thing I could have gotten in the past. So good times, good times. Well, since we have our Prime Gaming, this is nothing. We do have as always, our player support report.
Do you have a report? Is it a very long report?
There is a report. It is not a very long report.
Is it the same as them telling us that there's something coming next week?
It's not quite that. It's close, but they do first have an event card reminder with Solstice being live. The event card's also live. It's only accessible during the event. So if you have bought the event card, or even are just participating in the event for free, you must claim the things on the card by August 8th. Because if you don't claim them, and the event ends, you will never be able to claim them, and all your hard work is for nothing. So whether you bought the additional event card, or just are playing Solstice, and the card is there for free, claim the things off it, which honestly you need to do for the kindling, if you're trying to upgrade your armor anyway. So remember to hit that button, and do that.
I will.
There are a couple of various known issues. One is the event card challenge Flamekeeper is showing an incorrect icon. Not too terribly exciting. The Crowning Duolog rocket launcher does not appear in collections. So it will one day. They will fix it eventually, but right now it is not in your collections. And also the Sunlit Solstice armor sets also do not appear in your collections. Now, if you have, for some reason, deleted what you didn't realize was the last piece of Solstice armor, you can go back to Grandma Stranger Danger Eva Levante, and you can get a new piece of armor from her. So you're not totally out of luck if you've accidentally deleted the very last one, but it's not in your collections yet, and will be at some point, but isn't today. Now, I did also see they are, through the Bungie Help Twitter, actively investigating a fix for the armor kindling issue preventing some players from completing their Solstice quests and encountering a persistent instructional pop-up. So that is being looked at. They do not have a fix for it yet. And if for some reason you are playing Trials, have gone flawless, and are listening to this and we're not aware of this at this point, there was an issue with the Adept Astral Horizon shotgun not dropping from the flawless passages. That has since been fixed sometime yesterday evening.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get your Adept shotgun if you go flawless. You may not be getting your armor kindling from Solstice, and they are working on a fix for that, which, as of 17 hours ago as we record, they did not have yet. And that's it. That's all the issues in the game. Everything else is beautiful.
Yeah. And then we have movies and art of the week. So if you want to go and check those out, or if you want to submit something to Bungie to get included in the movies or art of the week, I believe it is hashtag Destiny2 AOTW for art of the week and MOTW for movie of the week. If you have a movie, one of these days I'm going to have to do something. Probably won't get selected, but I'll try.
You should. I mean, take inspiration from our new emblem in the game. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It doesn't have to be beautiful 3D rendered machinima. It can just be something you've drawn and it's beautiful.
Okay.
Or it could just be a man dancing in the tower on a quest to get a hat. Could just be that.
It could be. So as he's not here, he's bowed out. There is Respawn report roundup, so I'm guessing it's defaulted to me with Nitedemon news.
I guess so. What is the good word, sir? What is the news?
The news this week is that Bungie are proud to accept the Accessibility Award from G4C. So there you go. They got an award, which they do. They do a lot of accessibility stuff for people in the game. There's like the melee, the auto melee, the auto shooting thing, thing. That thing.
Both the full auto mod and down the full auto setting, the auto melee setting. That again, these
they keep going through and Respawn moans about, and then they go, "Oh, yeah, we got it right." So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like a lot of these things, us as older gamers can take advantage of, but it's also important to remember, Bungie wants to make these games accessible to everyone, and that means making them accessible to everyone.
Yeah,
sometimes I know people said, "Oh, why are they doing this setting? It's not for it's not for me." Well, yeah, sometimes it's not for you. You don't have an issue with mobility and using your fingers and pressing buttons. Some people do, and now they can play the game and enjoy it as well.
And Bungie are being recognised for doing that in the community. So, well done to them.
Good job, Bungie, and good job, Games for Change.
Mm-hmm. Destiny Bulletin this week pointed out that all Destiny 2 expansions, collections, packs are currently on sale at the PlayStation, Xbox/Microsoft Store, and PC Store from 40% up to 67% off. So if you are missing an expansion and going, I can't afford them normally, now's the kind of good time to get in there and pick them up.
And until when? I don't know. So buy them quickly.
Yes.
Certainly they'll be gone by the time the new season launches, but maybe well before.
Something I did see that I picked up from Bungie Help was due to an issue, we have temporarily disabled the bolstering detonator, focusing strike, impact induction, and momentum transfer mods, which weren't noted, I think, the same day that the 12 came out. So those, I believe, are still kind of temporarily disabled, a bit like we had the mods last week that were disabled for doing various different things. Bungie Help also put out that they're aware of issues preventing crafted weapons XP from being earned from the Bonfire Bash activity. They're still investigating a fix for the issue. I haven't heard any more. Have you?
No, and as of this morning, that was still not the case. They were still not granting progress. So, nope, still busted. Yeah, that's one thing I think you called out, or one of us messaged the other one day one. It's like, I'm not getting any progress from this, so don't bother putting things on. And that, as of Saturday the 22nd, that was still the case. So they have not fixed that yet. So I'm not saying don't run your crafted weapons, but you're not getting any progress from the crafted weapons in Bonfire Bash.
And then we have Destiny Bulletin again has put out a little bit of information for players that maybe try and accidentally delete characters. So it looks like Bungie has updated the character deletion prompt when deleting a character in Destiny 2. The new prompt now requires players to select specific keys in order to complete the character deletion, which is an amazing change, because I fear sometimes that if I leave the controller on the character select screen and one of my dogs decides to go and sit on my controller and they accidentally delete my character, I'm like, or Deacon gets hold of my controller and goes, I wonder what happens here if I delete one of these. So, but then she'll know how to kind of delete the characters, she'll put in the sequence, but my dog's butt probably wouldn't be able to do it that easily.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it couldn't be done, but I'm saying a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I know who to
now when
blame,
you bring up
basically.
to delete the character, it'll basically say once you bring up the delete character tree, it'll have you press 4 separate buttons or read the screen and press those buttons. Sort of like when you have to type in delete to do something to go, are you sure you want to do this? You have to actually take some action and do this purposely, so you can't say, oh no, this was an action. I don't know how this happened yet. You hit the button and then you typed in 4 things. No, that was purposeful.
And the last thing on here was from the game post. The Destiny 2, the Final Shape new subclass seemingly leaked. Now, I'll link the actual post, which shows you the little video that was kind of uploaded to, I can't remember the name of the place now.
The first one in the article here, the Imager one?
Yeah, Imager. That's
or from Veed.io.
Veed.io. Yeah. So yeah, it's a video of them with a new transmat effect. But on one of the clips, it shows a red subclass in the bottom left-hand corner. It's about the third clip in. It's suddenly where the character's in the helm, and it shows the weapons, and it's a red melee underneath. So and the symbol for the super is nothing like we've got in game. Now, I thought, oh, this is interesting. And then I watched the Aztecross video, which I'll also link in the show notes, where he goes into a bit more kind of a deep dive about it. Because it turns out, like this time last year, before we had the reveal of the Lightfall, we had a similar case where a Bungie video, an official Bungie video, because this is an official Bungie video, was accidentally uploaded to somewhere. And it showed somebody on the EDZ just fighting with the Winter's Bite sword, but it showed you a green subclass and different symbols, which we now know that it was the symbol was different for the Titan that was in the clip, but we now know that it was kind of Strand. And he goes over the kind of history in his video, Aztecross, of all the different things that have kind of come up about the subclass, the sixth subclass we possibly could be getting, while we might not be getting into subclass in another expansion. I mean, it'd be pretty cool if they do manage to do back-to-back subclasses. I mean, I think they hit the ball out of the park, didn't they, with Strand? And it wasn't overpowered, it wasn't underpowered, it was good out of the gate. And I think if they can do that again with another darkness subclass and round it out to that we have the 6, and that is the final key for the final shape, that's going to be good. But I think he was saying that, like, for a long time, people have been saying it's either going to be a red or a gold subclass because it kind of goes along with the colours of all the other subclasses. So the red and the symbol look to be like they could be part of a new subclass for the final shape.
So might this lead some credence to a particular raid coming back or not?
Well, he says that in his video about Siva. Maybe, yeah, Bungie were kind of, oh, we're done with Siva to try and stop people thinking about it, but possibly.
Yeah, and there's one more thing that I forgot I put in another channel this week that I saw of basically saying in on the Destiny of the Game Reddit, someone saying, you know, Bungie, you literally made the team's account so you can provide safety to your CMs as they continue to do your jobs. Please actually use the account. Basically saying, you know, Bungie, we missed the communication from you. And, you know, one of the official Bungie help accounts, or, you know, BNG help on Reddit, who is a, you know, official player team support account, replied saying, appreciate the feedback. Unfortunately, devs who aren't even CMs are still being harassed just because they work at Bungie. So using the CM account on Reddit will put a bigger target on all of our CMs back. I completely understand that we want to go back to how we used to respond all the time here, but that time has passed. Until everyone can feel safe again, I wouldn't expect to see many responses from us here for the foreseeable future. However, just because we aren't responding doesn't mean we aren't still looking and reading feedback and passing it along. As a legend once said, we're listening. And while we can't always act on the feedback, we do share it with stakeholders every single week, so please keep it coming. You may find us responding more on our own help forums, so please report any issues to us there. So why aren't we hearing more from Bungie? Because people are still being terrible human beings and harassing Bungie employees. So, you know, this is Bungie saying, you know, things aren't going to get better until things get better. And they go on to say in another comment, we don't accept that being harassed is, quote, just a part of life. This kind of mindset is unhealthy, and we aren't going to put ourselves in danger for a video game. So don't expect to hear more from Bungie until people, you know, be more humans and stop harassing Bungie employees just because they're Bungie employees beyond the community managers. Yeah. So quit it. Be nice to people. Or you're never going to hear another thing from them, and they're well within their rights, and I wouldn't tell you if I was being harassed either. I'd say if you're gonna act like this, that's it. We're turning the spigot off. Read the blog post, go to the help forum. That's all you're gonna get. So yeah. So if you're wondering, hey, are things going back to the way they were? No, they aren't. Because people are being terrible. So don't be terrible.
No. So, are you interested to know what's happening next week in Destiny? Well, this week
I'm
coming
interested to know.
Well, I'm just about to tell you then. Hello and welcome to the 10th week of Season 21, Season of the Deep, starting on July 25th, 2023. So for week 10, let's kick things off with our legacy rotation, starting with the Forsaken expansion.
Ready if you are. Let's see what's out there.
The Dreaming City this week is at a strong curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in Ria Silvia, and has the Dark Monastery mission for the next week. The Blind Well features Taken Enemies and the Plague Einam Mina. The Ascendant challenge this week will be the Keep with Owned Edges, which can be located over in the Harbinger Seclude on the Dreaming City. Next up, the Shadowkeep expansion. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is in the Deep. The Trove Guardian is located in the Hellmouth, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Fallen Council in Archer's Line. And the Nightmare Hunt this week will be Zydron, Servitude, Tanix, Isolation, and Skolas, Pride. For our Beyond Light expansion, on Europa this week, Praxis the Technocrat will be the Empire Hunt, Cadmus Ridge will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Safeguard. For the 30th anniversary expansion, we have the loot rotation for Dares of Eternity, which will be on week 2's rotation, with the Scatterhorn armor set and the Perfectus armor set being available. The weapons available this week will be the Kinetic Adaptive Frame Auto Rifle Scathelock, the Kinetic Aggressive Frame Submachine Gun Extraordinary Rendition, the Void Aggressive Burst Sidearm Brass Attacks, the Void Precision Frame Linear Fusion Rifle Threaded Needle, the Solar High Impact Frame Rocket Launcher Code Dwello, the Void Lightweight Frame Bow Imperial Needle, the Solar Adaptive Frame Sniper Rifle Far Future, the Arc Adaptive Frame Sword Honor's Edge, the Solar Rapid Fire Frame Sniper Rifle Distant Terminus, the Arc Adaptive Frame Grenade Launcher Interference 6, the Kinetic Adaptive Frame Sniper Rifle Shepherd's Watch, and the Solar Adaptive Frame Hand Cannon Annual Skate. For the Witch Queen expansion, the Witch Queen weekly story mission is the Communion, where the modifier is Empath, as well as Barrier and Unstoppable champions. Also this week you'll have Altar of Reflection Choice, and Altar of Reflection Pact. The Wellspring activity has been updated to include a featured Throne World weapon, Veritas armor, and a weapon pattern as its rewards. For the Lightfall expansion, the weekly mission is Downfall, with extra shields, lock loadouts, and extra champions, Barrier and Unstoppable champions, Solar Threat, Scorched Earth modifier, Kinetic Overcharge, Void and Solar Surges, with an overcharged weapon, and Galvanized on hero difficulty only. The Partition mission will be Hard Reset, Contest mode enabled with Barrier and Unstoppable champions, Arc Threat, Scorched Earth, Pestilence and Martyr modifiers, Arc and Strand shields with Void and Strand surges. And the Vex incursion this week will be Liming Harbour. In addition, the weekly Lightfall reset also refreshes the Pinnacle drop for the Node Override Avalon Exotic mission on the EDZ. For the Season of the Deep, the featured fishing pond will be on the EDZ. Raids and Dungeons. The Root of Nightmares raid challenge this week is the second encounter, Cision, called Crossfire. No one can shoot the launch crystals on the side that they're currently standing on. The Kingsfall raid challenge this week is the fifth encounter, Oryx, called Hands Off. Players must not kill the same Ogre or Light Eater Knight throughout the encounter. The Vow the Disciple challenge this week is the third encounter, the Upender, called Defenses Down. This is where each player cannot kill more than one Taken Knight in total. The Deepstone Crypt challenge this week is the first encounter, Crypt Security, called Red Rover. This is where all Guardians must be an operator and shoot the two panels on the low level. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the third encounter, Consecrated Mind, called Staying Alive, where you must not kill the spawning Cyclopses in the first two rooms. And the Last Wish challenge this week is the fifth encounter, Riven, called Strength of Memory, where Guardians must not shoot the same Riven Eye twice. Your Pinnacle raid will be the Vault of Glass over in the Legends tab, which means all of the challenges will be available for each encounter. These are the first encounter, Confluxes, called Wait For It, where every Yellow Bar Wyvern must be killed as they sacrifice themselves to the Confluxes. The second encounter, Oracles, called The Only Oracle For You. Players cannot destroy the same Oracle more than once. The third encounter, Templar, called Out of Its Way, where you must keep the Templar from teleporting. The fourth encounter, Gatekeeper, called Strangers in Time. Players must defeat the Praetorians and the Wyverns at the same time. And the fifth encounter, Atheon, called Ensembler's Refrain. Each player teleported can only destroy one Oracle in each spawn set. Also, with the Vault of Glass being the featured raid, this does mean that you can farm the final boss for a chance at the exotic fusion rifle Vex Mythoclast. And the Pinnacle Dungeon will be the Shattered Throne over on the Dreaming City. Next up, challenges. Wicked Depth. Complete the Whetstone encounter in Deep Dives and earn the Wicked Implement Scout Rifle for Challenge XP++. Neptune activities. In Neomuna, complete bounties, patrols, public events and lost sectors for Challenge XP+, and Bright Dust. Spark of Arc. Defeat Guardians in Crucible matches with Arc subclass equipped. Bonus progress is granted for defeating blind opponents for Challenge XP+, and Bright Dust. Special Measures. Defeat 100 targets in Gambit with weapons using special ammo. Bonus progress is granted for defeating Guardians and landing final blows with glaives and hand cannons using special ammo for Challenge XP+, and Bright Dust. And Tried and True. Defeat 300 combatants in Vanguard playlists or strikes with primary ammo. Bonus progress is granted for more challenging combatants for Challenge XP++ and Bright Dust. Hello! As a reminder, your daily lost sector will show you a flag outside which will give you details of threats, shields, champions and exotic armour you will find inside. But if you are new to the game or you're using an alternate character and can't find the flag outside, you will have to run through the lost sector normally to have it show up on your map as a legend/master, which you can either do solo or with a fire team, but you will only be able to earn the chance at the exotic drop when completing solo. Tuesday, July 25th will be the Bale Drowned Wishes on the Dreaming City for exotic gauntlets, Arc Threat, Void and Arc Surges, Void Shields, Stalker Shield modifier, Overcharged Snipers, with Overload and Unstoppable Champions. Wednesday, July 26th will be the Veil's Labyrinth on the Cosmodrome for exotic chests, Arc Threat, Void and Arc Surges, Arc and Solar Shields, Fire Pit modifier, with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Thursday, July 27th will be Exodus Garden 2A on the Cosmodrome for exotic helmets, Void Threat, Arc and Void Surges, Void Shields, Scorched Earth modifier, with Barrier and Overload Champions. Friday, July 28th will be the K1 Revelations on the Moon for exotic boots, Void Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Arc Shields, Fire Pit modifier, Overcharged Machine Guns, with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Saturday, July 29th will be the K1 Crew Quarters on the Moon for exotic gauntlets, Arc Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Solar Shields, Hot Knife modifier, Overcharged Glaives, with Barrier and Overload Champions. Sunday, July 30th will be the K1 Logistics on the Moon for exotic chests, Void Threat, Arc and Void Surges, Arc and Solar Shields, Hot Knife and Chafe modifiers, Overcharged Snipers, with Barrier and Overload Champions. And finally, background to Monday, July 31st will be the K1 Communion on the Moon for exotic helmets, Solar Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Solar and Void Shields, Arachno modifier, Overcharged Linear Fusion Rifle, with Barrier and Overload Champions.
Lead the way.
Our 10th featured Nightfall will see us face off against Alakul in the Lightblade over on the Throne World, where you have a chance to get a Pinnacle engram if you complete the Nightfall with a score of 200k or more. This Nightfall will require you to own the Witch Queen expansion. You will be able to earn high-end gear for your characters, including the Nightfall featured weapon, exotic gear, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, ascendant shards, and adept Nightfall ciphers. The higher the Nightfall difficulty, the more common the drop will be, with the featured weapon and exotic gear being uncommon at hero difficulty to being common with ascendant shards in Grandmasters. Legend and lower Nightfalls will have 8 barrier, 2 unstoppable, and 7 lucent champions, with 6 solar and 12 arc shields. Masters and GMs will have 12 barrier, 3 unstoppable, and 7 lucent champions, with 6 solar and 8 arc shields. Your Nightfall modifiers are hero difficulty, maximum effective level 1765, matchmaking is available, enemies have extra shields, champions foe, you will face barrier, unstoppable, and lucent champions. You can either use intrinsic exotics, use a subclass debuff, or unlock anti-champion mods from the seasonal artifact. Arc Threat, 25% increase to incoming arc damage. Empath, enhanced radar, take increased damage from melee. Overcharged weapons, weapons overcharged from the seasonal artifact are active in this activity. Kinetic weapons do increased damage when your subclass element matches an active surge. Arc Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing arc damage. An Elemental Surge, 25% bonus to an outgoing element's damage. Overcharged weapon, 25% bonus damage to a specific weapon type. Galvanized, combatants have more health and are more difficult to stun. Legend difficulty, maximum effective level 1815, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. No matchmaking. Equipment locked, you will be unable to change your equipment once the mission starts. Master difficulty, maximum effective level 1820, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanize. Champions mob, this difficulty adds more champion enemies. Chafe, radar is disabled. Grandmaster difficulty, maximum effective level 1815, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. Join in progress is disabled. Extinguish, if your fire team falls in a restricted zone, your team is returned to orbit. Limited revives, gain additional revives by defeating champions up to a maximum of 20. And contest mode, which caps your power level to make enemies more of a challenge. To combat champions this season, you have access to subclass counters as well as a choice of intrinsic anti-champion artifact mods, which are Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle, Unstoppable Hand Cannon, and Unstoppable Glaive. You also have exotic weapons and armor that can help with intrinsic mods as well. For Anti-Barrier, the Kinetic Bow Wishender, the Kinetic Linear Fusion Rifle Arbalest, the Kinetic Pulse Rifle Revision 0, the Solar Energy Hand Cannon Ariana's Vow, the Solar Heavy Sword The Lament, and the Titan Gauntlet Second Chance, which gain a second charge of a shield throw melee, which becomes shield piercing and stuns barrier champions. And for Unstoppable, the Kinetic Fusion Rifle Bastion, the Kinetic Hand Cannon Malfeasance, the Solar Energy Sidearm Devil's Ruin, the Void Heavy Bow Leviathan's Breath, and the Hunter Gauntlets Atheris's Embrace, which have a chance to stun unstoppable champions with their empowered weighted knife. The Nightfall featured weapon to obtain this week would be the Arc Adaptive Frame Grenade Launcher Wendigo GL3. The Wendigo GL3 has a base blast radius of 50, velocity of 29 and handling of 41. It can roll with Full Court, Explosive Light and Frenzy, with Clown Cartridge, Chain Reaction and Auto-Loading Holster. It has the origin trait of Stunning Recovery, where if you stun a champion you partially refill the magazine, trigger health regen and improve your recovery for a short duration. Vanguard Vindication, where final blows with the weapon grant a small amount of health. And Omolon Fluid Dynamics, where the weapon has increased reload speed and stability for the top half of the magazine. Lord Shaxx brings Momentum Control to the Crucible for the 10th week of the season. Momentum Control is a 6v6 PvP mode which is a variation of the regular control mode, where every weapon is significantly higher in lethality, meaning that you can take out your opponents much faster than normal. Respawns are instant, and defeating enemy players in Momentum Control will grant faster regeneration on your melee, grenade and super. Players get increased damage resistance when they activate a super, to help counteract that little bit of extra damage that the guns give out. The mode also has increased capture speeds on points and radar is removed for every player. Achieve victory by capturing zones and defeating opponents. And Zone Control will be returning this week in the Relentless Crucible playlist. Zone Control is a 6v6 game mode which emphasises team-based gameplay in capturing zones and not kills. Zone Control forces players to collaborate more actively in capturing and defending zones. Capturing zones dramatically takes longer if one player tries to do it themselves, with it taking 22.5 seconds to capture the point, whereas 2 can capture within 10 seconds. 3 or more players will capture a zone in 7.5 seconds. Beyond that, capturing a zone will net the team 1 point per capture, and holding onto the point will reward 2 points every 15 seconds per zone, making it essential to lock down areas rather than float between them carelessly. The first team to 125 points wins.
Delightful!
Plus, Trials of Osiris Dominion will be back once again at the weekend with some new rewards for players who do make it to the lighthouse and open the chest. These include the Hero's Wake Exotic Ghost Shell, the Valiant Memory Exotic Ship, the Survivor's Journey Exotic Sparrow, and the new Trials shader, Glorious Patina. Trials of Osiris Dominion is a 3v3 PvP high-stakes game mode with a twist of a capture point. In Dominion, 2 teams of 3 go head-to-head in a battle for control of a capture point. Teams can either work together to capture the control point, or eliminate the enemy team to win the round. Only available from Friday Reset until Tuesday Weekly Reset, Trials gives every player the chance to show off their PvP skills to obtain some of Destiny's most sought-after weapons and armour. Players that compete in Trials of Osiris will have all of their games tracked through a passage card, a ticket purchased from Saint 14 in the lower hangar of the tower. Winning rounds and matches in Trials of Osiris will grant exclusive weapons, armour, pinnacle gear, masterwork materials and even adept gear for the most skilled players who can reach the lighthouse with a flawless ticket of 7 games won and no losses. 5 round wins will bag you the match for your passage card. By competing in Trials you do have a chance to pick up 2 pinnacle engrams from playing each week, one from 50 round wins and the other from winning 7 games. These do not have to be done all in one go, but you do have to complete them before the weekly reset.
That is amazing.
And Destiny 2's summer event Solstice continues this week, so light those bonfires and grab your loot. Solstice will run until August 8th. Also, with us moving into the final few weeks of the season, here's your reminder to start collecting all of your Season of the Deep Pass items, any items left over from Season of Defiance Season Pass items from Bungie.net, plus your reward track items and engrams from Banshee 44, the Gunsmith, Shax, Crucible, Zavala, Vanguard, Drifter, Gambit, and Saint 14 Trials. Grab these before the end of the season as they will reset and you will lose all items when the new season starts. Don't forget you can also start hoarding those bounties to get a leg up on XP and artifact progression for next season. And that's it for the 10th week of Season of the Deep.
Guardian down.
So as promised by Respawn last week, but Peroty and I will take the mantle of going back through our feedback for Mel O'Malley, who got in contact with us back at the end of June. And I know we're kind of halfway through July, and Respawn was going to do it last week, and then he said he was going to come back this week and do it, but he didn't. He lost the bet.
This is mid-season. This is the mid-season email from Melissa update. That's all this is. It's mid-season, Nitedemon.
Okay.
All right. So Melissa, a.k.a. Mel O'Malley, writes, "Hi, guys. Again. Sorry, this is probably going to be a little longer than the email I sent last month. Listening to your weekly podcast the past couple of days, I haven't listened to it all yet, and I just wanted to say thank you for mentioning the exotic fish / broken blade. I had no idea that was even a thing, so I looked up more info online and was able to get the broken blade from Nessus and the miasma. This is another great example of why your podcast is so informative. I'm not sure I would have ever known about it without you mentioning it." And we can skip the part to Respawn now. Oh, also Respawn, who unfortunately is not here to respond to you in real time. In regard to my email last month, I had forgotten you live in I forgot to mention we live in Southern California. So playing with your regular group from the East Coast shouldn't be a problem. This weekend I'm going to see if I can finally get to rank 10, Exemplar. I only need to do 2 things, the seasonal journey on Legendary, and the featured Grandmaster with a Darkness subclass equipped. I also need to guild my Conqueror title by completing 6 GM Nightfalls. I will definitely be reaching out for help if my family isn't available to join me and help me get those completed. So Respawn, even though you can't hear this, be on the lookout. Also, Respawn's on vacation. Also, it is no longer that week, so who knows what's happening. Merchandise? Mm-hmm. Did I hear Respawn say you guys are considering getting your own merch? That would be great. I would love a 2 Titans and a Hunter hat and other stuff.
I know. I know.
This is Nitedemon now frowning deeply over the corner. You can see the frown lines just deeply set.
I'm trying to find the best place to put the merch up so that it's a good, decent price for people to purchase. Because you don't want to be overpriced and have rubbish.
You don't, or get some rubbish, which is its own other topic from the world of Destiny this week. Lastly, and here is the long part. If you take requests I want to talk about, I've been dabbling in PvP for a few months. As I said in my earlier email, I started playing Destiny in August 2022, and I was so afraid to partake in PvP. I went in one time with my husband to see what it was like, and I was just so nervous and bad, and I wanted to get out of there ASAP. I hit a lot. About 6 months ago, my whole family was playing Crucible, our son and 2 daughters and their significant others, and my husband. So I decided to take the plunge and join their fire team. Okay, I was still really bad, especially because our kids' KDAs are way up, and all because of the similar skill in matchmaking. I was just getting shot left and right before I could even move out of spawn. I was so embarrassed that in some games, I didn't even get 1 kill. I wanted so much to play with the family, but I felt really bad for bringing down the whole team. First off, never feel bad. It's fun. No, it's a game. It's all good times.
I mean, you heard me at the beginning of the show. We went into trials and we just got killed over and over and over and over and over again. And it was just fun to play with your friends. So, yeah, don't feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. They're happy you're playing there as part of the family. That's the fun thing. My wife is one of 8, and when they grew up, they all played Halo Deathmatch, the original Halo Deathmatch. So sometimes when we can get some portion of her siblings together, we will go play the original Halo Deathmatch on the Xboxes again. Some of them are great. Some of them are terrible. It's all good fun. It's all good fun. We call it the Dang It Fest because everyone just yells Dang It the entire time because we're playing with husbands and wives and kids and their kids, and it's all good times. It's more fun. Everyone enjoys you playing with the family. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad. No one's judging you. And if they are, it's all lighthearted. And if it's not lighthearted, tell them they suck and then hit them with things in real life. Yeah. You will win. So she goes on to say, I remember when Sweaty Spooks was a guest on one of your recent podcasts, and he said he started out in PvP and then tried PvP. He started out in PvE and then tried PvP, but was also really bad. That is when we decided that if he wanted to get better, and that's how I felt too. After many games of playing Crucible and playing so poorly with my family and teammates, I vowed to myself to get better at PvP. Not great, but better. And that's what I did. I gained enough courage to start playing PvP by myself every day, several times a day, hours a day. A lot of falling down and picking myself up. PvP is interesting. I find it's a constant mental battle with myself. I felt like quitting so many times. I felt bad for my rando teammates because I was not helping our team win, but then little by little, I started to get a little better. With all the hours in playtime, I actually started to get better. I started moving my way up from last place to second to last place. I was getting more than 1 to 2 kills. I was so happy to move out of the last place slot. At least the amount of kills, least amount of zones controlled, etc. Then, I started to move up into the middle of the pack. Oh my god, I wasn't in last place, or even second to last place anymore. Crucible was actually starting to be fun. It was becoming a really fun challenge to not only get better, but to help my team win. And as the games continued, every day, several times, hours a day. To make a long story short, I now have my Iron Lord title, Gilded. Excellent, congratulations. Nitedemon approves deeply.
I definitely approve.
I usually end up first or second on my team. I usually get 20 plus kills per game. Definitely an improvement. Of course, there are plenty of games, like when Peroty mentioned in your last podcast, I have been doubting myself. One game my KD is 4 with 20 plus kills. My next game my KD is 0.8 with 9 kills. Sigh. But overall, I am better. And that's what I wanted to be. And thank goodness for the similar skill matching. I am not so jaded anymore to think that I can. I'm not so jaded to think that I can compete with Sweaty Spooks, but I am better than I was and actually enjoying PvP rather than fearing it. So I do have a lot of questions about PvP, but for now I want to get some feedback on what armor stats should be. I've looked online and everyone says something different. For example, some people say that recovery is the most important stat, some people say resilience, some say that having armor stats up to 100 doesn't matter, that it maxes out at 80 or 90 or maybe lower. Some even say that having armor stats at 100 can hurt your performance, and that you should stay around 80 or 90. Why? So my Warlock is my main character, so armor stats are not an issue, and I have flexibility, but my Hunter is my newest character, and having decent armor stats is a struggle. Some say stats for Hunters in PvP should be mobility first, recovery second, resilience third. But do I sacrifice recovery for mobility? The best I can do with armor stats in PvP for my poor Hunter is 102 mobility, 57 resilience, 44 recovery. That seems like poor armor stats for PvP, and I think it might have me underperforming. Anyway, if you guys can talk about armor stats in PvP in one of your future podcasts, that would be so helpful. Thanks for all you do, Melissa.
Well, we can definitely do that.
Yeah,
but I think
absolutely.
I think to answer that question about the PvP stat, well, the stats for your armor, sometimes I find that it doesn't matter what I am rocking armor stat wise. Sometimes if I'm jumping from character to character to character, I will just put on the weapons that I want to use in PvP, or the weapons that I know that I'm really good at on that character. So, for example, at the moment, I think I was using the Ace of Spades on my Titan. I used the Ace of Spades on my Warlock, and I found that I wasn't as good with it. Now, I swapped back to the Titan and played with the Titan, but sometimes when I find that I'm jumping from character to character, I don't pay that much attention to the stats, and you can have good games or bad games. It just depends on how good you are at kind of playing PvP, so your positioning and the game mode also helps as well. So if it is just kind of capturing the zone, or making sure that people aren't getting close to that zone, so those things kind of do have a factor. And you'll find that if you take your eye off of those stats and don't look at them as much, that you don't notice that those stats are there. Saying that, those stats will benefit you if you do spec into them, of like going like 100% mobility, 100% resilience, 50% recovery. That they're kind of little increments that will help your gameplay. What do you think, Peroty?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Some of it is too. is just sort of what you feel comfortable with, because things just sort of feel different to me.
Mm.
I think my general, again, going about things, whether I'm playing the Titan or the Warlock, is I look at resilience as sort of my security blanket. I want to get my resilience to 100, or at least as high as I can.
Yeah.
I then, sort of depending what I'm playing, will look at either recovery or discipline, because I either want to throw a bunch of grenades or I want to be recovered a little faster. Honestly, well, I'll go and look, because you can pull up, under all these stats in the game, like recovery and discipline specifically. You can go look in discipline and say, well, what's the difference if I go from 50 to 60 or 60 to 70? It'll show you, hey, and which grenade am I using? How quickly do I get that grenade back? So you're saying, hey, I'm running an arc, I'm running a pulse grenade. Here's the difference between, I'll get this grenade back, 3 seconds quicker if I go. I don't remember what the numbers are. I don't have it in front of me, but here, going from this tier to this tier, it's a 6-second difference in grenade. If I go from this tier to this tier, it's a 10-second difference. Well, that looks interesting to me, because I think sort of where she was alluding to is, like, if you go from 90 to 100, I think the return on that is smaller than if you're going from 80 to 90. So it's like, I think it's like if you're going from 80 to 90 or 70 to 80, you're getting your grenade back 8 or 10 seconds quicker. But then that last 90 to 100, it's coming back 5 seconds or 3 seconds. It's a smaller return. So I think some of it is just, what loadout are you going to play? What subclass are you running? Because part of my mental math goes into, well, if I'm playing my Warlock, I care a little less about recovery, because I sort of have recovery on demand. I got a rift I can throw down, I can recover whenever I want to, more or less. If I'm playing the Titan, I'm jumping into Arc, I don't have a really good way to heal myself, so maybe I want my recovery a little bit higher. If I'm running Void, I can throw a wall down, give myself an overshield and health. I don't quite need that recovery being quite so high. So some of it sort of goes into, what am I going to play and how am I going to play it? And at the end of the day, it's just some of it's just collecting armor. My Titan has armor for days and days and days. My Warlock has got some decent stuff. It's sort of like I can get a good roll here and there, but I don't have every piece of armor in every slot. And my Hunter, we don't talk about, he's at 1668 and has armor and exists. But I think, and that's what things like Iron Banner or, Solstice is really good for, saying, let me just go play that event on the character with the rolls of armor that I don't have that are quite as good, and just sort of collect those armor rolls. For years, and I know we've featured a number of different people talking about armor and builds and what you should do and how you should do your armor stats and all these things, and what ghost mod you should put into your ghost in order to try to get the stats where you want them to fall. So I know some of it is just a numbers game of play the game in horde armor and then go to D2 armor picker and say, what can I do with this?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was going to point you in the direction, or point anybody in the direction of. If you go to D2 armor picker, and that's d2armorpicker.com, you can link your Bungie account. It will then go through your characters. You can select whichever character you want. You can select whichever exotic you want to kind of use. So say for the moment, I will point you in the direction of a Cool Guy video that he put out this week for the Warlocks, using the Getaway Artist gloves. Now, these are the ones that convert your arc grenade, into an arc soul, and you become amplified. And the arc soul has the functions as an autonomous turret, and it works better than the arc soul that you get in the Rift. It's a little bit more aggressive. So he put out a build this week as a complete arc build, and I'll link that in the show notes because it's a really cool video. And as we were kind of playing Warlock this week, I thought it's one to kind of, he was saying that it's kind of slept on in PvP, and he showed you kind of how it dominated. And especially with the new auto rifle that you can get from this season, the Centrifuge, it pairs really well with that. Anyway, going back to D2 Armor Picker. So yes, you can go to D2 Armor Picker. So it knows what stats you've got on all your armor. And you can say, right, I want to use the Getaway Artist. So if you select the exotic armor piece you want for your character, it will then look down every single piece of armor and go, right, what do you want to kind of spec into? So you can spec into mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, up to 100. And then you pick whatever you want to kind of stack into that. So if you want to go across the board with 80s for resilience, recovery, and discipline, you can do that. And then it will also then tell you what's available to get up to 100. Say you want to get 100 resilience on your Warlock. It will then tell you what pieces you've got. At the moment, I've got I think there's 65 items that are used, 17 combinations on my Warlock to get up to 100 resilience, 80 recovery, and 80 discipline. It'll then tell you can go up to 30 in mobility. You've still got some stat points available. So if you want to go 40 in intellect, you can still do that. And then 30 in strength. And then that'll whittle it down to it's given me 2 combinations generated. It will then show you what mods that you need to then equip, what armor pieces you need to do. You can copy that to a clipboard, which you can then take into your Destiny Item Manager loadout. And then it will highlight those in your Destiny Item Manager for you to then transfer across. It'll also tell you if you need to upgrade them. So if you need to masterwork them. So if you need to masterwork them, it'll also tell you if you need to do that. You can also click buttons to say, do it without masterworking. So just show me what I've got currently that I've got available in upgrading. But the good fun thing about this is that it tells you, if you go onto the stats, it'll tell you the tier 0 resilience of, for a Titan, how many hit points you get. So a tier 0, 185 hit points. PvE damage is 0%. Rally Barricade comes back in 45 seconds. The Towering Barricade comes back in 57. And the Bastion Barricade comes back in 1 minute 57. Now, if you then scroll through, go from 10, 20, 30, all the way up to 100, it tells you each stat as you go through. So at tier 10, it gives you an extra 15 hit points. So it takes you up to 200. PvE damage reduction is 40%. Rally Barricade comes back in 16 seconds. Tower Barricade comes back in 20, and the Bastion Barricade comes back in 41. And it'll do that for the hunters for mobility, because hunters are the ones that need the mobility. So for a tier 10, it gives you a speed increase of 40%. Walking speed is an increase of 7 milliseconds. Strafe speed is 5.9. Crouch speed 3.85. Marksman dodge comes back in 14 seconds, Gambler's dodge 19, and Acrobat's dodge in 41 seconds. And then for recovery for your Warlocks, it will tell you that tier 10, the regeneration is 6.0 seconds, and your Rift will regenerate in 0.41 seconds. So you can see there, and it will tell you how quickly these kind of come back. So you can see the difference between a tier 8 and 100, or tier 8 and 9, or 7. So you'll be able to see what's actually going to come back quicker. And it'll also tell you that for the discipline for your grenades, your intellect for your super, and your strength for your punchy abilities. So depending on what you want to kind of spec into, it will give you what you kind of need to do. But I would recommend possibly for a Warlock, and if you're going to go with the Getaway Artist, probably recovery 100% and your discipline 100%. That then, for me, that leaves me with a resilience tier of 6%. But if I'm using the recovery and the discipline very well, with getting the arc buddies up every couple of seconds and keeping them up and standing in my wells and using those, the difference between the tier 6 and the tier 100, I mean, the hit points is 192 resilience at tier 6. Whereas tier 10 is 200. So it's only a matter of 8 hit points. And then, it differs for the Titans. So my Rally Barricade will come back in 24 seconds, Towering Barricade 30 seconds, and Bastion in 1 minute and 3. But if I'm on my Warlock, that kind of doesn't matter. That's just kind of my resilience. So you can see where it kind of has an effect on your character for those different stats. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be 100 recovery. You could possibly, for me, I could possibly take that down 1, but then that would increase my resilience up to tier 7 and give me another couple of hit points. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts, and use D2 Armor Picker to have a look at what you've got and what you kind of build into. And you'll learn a lot more about how that works. But then you'll go into some games and you'll get 2-tapped with a scout rifle, and you'll go, how did that happen? And it's not until you kind of look at what they're using, they may have had a rampage on, they could have got a kill clip on there. you just never know. So sometimes even having 100 resilience on a Titan standing in a barricade with a bastion overshield just still doesn't have any effect. It's just they do whatever they're going to do in PvP sometimes.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'll say. Like oftentimes, like when you go and you see a build that someone's put together, Plunder the Booty or Mactix or anyone out here, but you're doing the build videos. Oftentimes, it's more about what the build does and how the synergies work with the mods and the armor pieces and things you've selected. Because you'll notice most of the time, they're not running triple hundreds. Like, their stats are not super duper high in many cases. It's more about, what are you doing in the game and how are you sort of getting your abilities back, or basically what gameplay loop. Are you a hunter? Do you want to dodge all the time because the dodge activates a thing and then you go do this thing? Are you a Titan and you want to have that barricade back? Do you want to just throw piles and piles of grenades at people? So some of it's just about, sort of speccing into what you want to do and what you want to do a lot of, and sort of what your play style is. Yeah, but D2 Armor Picker is absolutely, it takes all of the grunt work out of figuring out what can I have, what can I do, and going, hey, here's all the Legos. Let me throw these Legos on the floor. Tell me which of these Legos I can put together to make something good, or what's the best thing I can do with them. And we'll put these links in the show notes. One, Mr. Sweaty Spooks himself, which also, if you're not listening to the Blueberry Lounge, you should go check those guys out because they talk about PvP and have a focus on PvP. And with a certain Destiny PvP podcast leaving the scene, there's going to be people looking for PvP content. So the Blueberry Lounge with Sweaty Spooks and Native Raider, absolutely go check it out. But Sweaty put out a video earlier this month about Destiny 2 PvP basics. It says for beginners, but he goes through things like, how mods work in PvP, Hunter stats, Warlock stats, and Titan stats, explaining builds, explaining how those stats work together. So that's a good, 9.5 minute, not quite Deacon approved, but, pretty close video, just sort of going over some of this. For, like the Warlocks specifically, again, and honestly, for the most part, Warlocks and Titans, I think people sort of say, resilience and recovery are what you want, and then sort of build into, discipline or whatever you're looking for next. Hunters put a little more toward mobility because that's what gets their class ability, their dodge back quicker. So that's just sort of the basic, sort of overriding principle people use. But Apathetic has a video he just put out in like 2 weeks ago for Perfect Your Warlock build, best stats for PvP. And he goes over every single stat, mobility, resil, recovery, discipline, intellect, strength, and ranking of importance. How all those stats work together and sort of which ones you want, what they do, how they benefit you. It's for a Warlock, so it should at least be more familiar to, as you're playing your Warlock, thinking, well, here's how these things work. But you can apply a lot of that stuff to, Titan more, almost like a 1-to-1, and then Hunter just think, hey, I might want a little more mobility because that's what gets my dodge back. And then I would be remiss if I didn't at least link to Ascendant Nomad's Crucible Doctor series, which is a series he did, I think early last year, maybe. About it. I think there's 20 or 30 videos in this playlist, but he goes over just, all parts of playing Crucible. You don't need to sit down and watch all of these front to back, but he has all sorts of just different ways to approach Crucible, different things to think about, from positioning, from consistency to, analyzing your own gameplay, looking at and saying, here's what I did right, here's what I did wrong. Just all sorts of different aspects of PvP. And there are little, bite-sized chunks of, 10 minutes here, 6 minutes there about sort of a different aspect of the game and a different aspect of playing. He also has a phenomenal voice, so if nothing else, he's worth listening to and enjoying his content.
Cool.
So that should get you started.
It should. And the only video that I want to kind of add to the many videos that I've kind of dropped throughout the podcast this week, that is from Shadow Destiny, is every hidden exotic perk in Destiny 2. Now, some of these will be beneficial in PvP and some of them won't. They'll be beneficial in PvE. But it's also things like where the Wither Horde will work with the Malfeasance and give extra damage to Malfeasance shots. Little things like that. And did you know, because I know Respawn probably doesn't know this, and I didn't know it, and I've been a Destiny player since day dot. Bad Juju, which is a exotic pulse rifle that I think is available from the Tower Monument to Lost Light. It's a primary pulse rifle. It has the String of Curse perk, which is kills refill the magazine, increase damage for the short duration, and grants super energy based on the strength of String of Curses. And it fires in full auto. But it also has a secret perk that I wasn't aware of, which is if you get, I think it was something like 146 kills in a row without dying and out reloading, every shot that you take after that makes the enemies explode. And I was like,
say 146.
It's something like 146. You'd have to watch the video just to double check the math on this one. But you get it as long as you don't reload and you're getting kind of constant kills. So like in the throwaway, if you're in the Shattered Throne, just constantly get the kills. And then after like 146 kills, every enemy is kind of exploding. It kind of does this explosion animation. So it's not one that's going to work in PvP, but it's going to work in PvE as long as you don't reload. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll link that one in the show notes.
That is a lot of kills.
It is.
That is quite something.
And I think that's it for our show this week. We've managed to go nearly 3 hours, just the two of us, with a little bit of interaction from Respawn.
Yeah, I think we've done a great job, and I think all of our patrons are going to be really happy with the show. They're going to have all the answers to all their questions. They're going to know what's coming up. They're going to know why they should be throwing balls into bonfires and setting things ablaze.
Yeah.
They're absolutely going to know what Zep Orbit, who can't be thrown with a good time, knows. They're going to know that T-Rex King, Charlotte Cam, and BHS Nightcrawler have recruited Melomally into the Otter Dance Troupe. So she is now one of our lovely Otter Dance Troupe, standing there, dancing, doing their incredible work. Carver 2782, We Noble, Golden God 1562, basically Salt, Zombie Pops, and Renard Calant are throwing all the grenades. Because why is our Otter Dance Troupe dancing? Because of the grenades. Gotta throw all those grenades. And then Deacon has granted the approval of PP Pipe, Dimwee, the Drifters, Driftwood, Space Coin, and Damhouse. And we thank all of our wonderful patrons who make this show happen, who make us, better people, giving us questions to answer. And this is our reminder. We do enjoy your feedback. If you have a question, a burning desire, email the show, twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. And then we too could answer your questions eventually. We're not quick, but we are persistent. And this is where I say, thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty and Nitedemon. Your Hunter on holiday, as no one responds in real life. You should email the show with your questions, desires, concerns, twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. Or reach out to us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere Two Titans and a Hunter exists, everywhere the social mediums exist, we exist. Find the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on YouTube each week for new episodes, weekly update videos, and live streams. twotitansandahunter.com will get you all you need to know about the show. You can, if you want to join the Otter Dance Troupe, threaten us with a good time, throw more grenades, you can join the Patreon at patreon.com/TTAH. Or if you're looking for more casual encounter, coffee.com, ko-fi.com/twotitansandahunter, all spelled out. If you want the thrill of live action, spicy language, and often a live stream of the show, twitch.tv/no-one-responds-in-real-life. If you want to keep it family friendly like a proper British gentleman, head over to twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter, and you should go to both those places, press the button, and then you'll know when either Nitedemon or Respawn goes live. And really, you never know what either one of them are going to get up to. So, it's worth a follow for that reason alone. Embrace the mystery. Now, Mr. Nitedemon, leave the people with your parting thoughts. We have no Welshman from Australia this week. We barely have a Floridian. I think that's our show.
I think it is. Go and bash those bonfires, and allons-y.
Until next week. Bye.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.
You know what I'm saying?